come across in the world. I feel like without a doubt, AI is, it's like every week AI is like right there.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. AI is right there. The biggest thing I've seen this past week, there was people coming out going, "Oh, there's this lady, Beatrix something, Beatrix something, scientist. She's going to change everything." And apparently, she released I haven't even seen it verified. It's supposed to be verified. They have evidence of satellites that predate any human satellites.
Like mechanical satellites?
Like satellites.
Well,
they know that they're up there.
I know, but sometimes they call satellites, just fucking, rocks or whatever, right? Like they say we have a second moon for like the next 3 years.
Okay, yes.
And it's the size of a 2-story building and it's just orbiting,
So that came out. I remember you saying that a while ago and I'm like, 2 moons? What? And then now I'm seeing the articles. Yeah, there's 2 moons going around.
Yeah, it's weird, hey.
And I got something I have no evidence for other than a trust me, bro. Last week, it was the Tuesday. I'm going to work. What time would this be at? It would have been at about 8:15ish. I hit the Skyway Bridge.
Okay.
8:15 a.m. I always look off to the right and look at Toronto, and this had the brightest light I have ever seen in my life, just in front of the skyline.
Okay.
And I'm trying to wrap my brain around it of what it could factually be. Like it was almost like a beam of light went through a small hole in the cloud and hit a gigantic mirror that was kind of in front of or around the CN Tower. And it just kind of hovered there in front of it. Yeah, like, when you look at it like a spotlight or a floodlight far away and it has a little bit of that, it gets a little bit of a ball quality to it.
Yeah.
But it's got some like lines to it that it was like that, like a lens flare. Boom. It's just stuck there. And I'm like in traffic trying to look at it, like debating if I can pull off my phone, taking a picture. But it's like traffic started moving. And I'm like, does everybody else see this? What the fuck? And then I got to work and never saw any news.
Wow. So yeah, I wonder if there's like a forum for
I checked
Reddit or something like that.
There is. Like, there's people that say that. I didn't post the question though to say who else saw this. What do you think it is? That kind of thing.
Right.
Yeah. But what I really want it to be, there was a UFO that came down and was just hovering in front of the city, and like nobody noticed it because we're so stuck on our lives and our phones.
Yeah, that could be.
Yeah, that they are coming and visiting. We don't have the bandwidth to notice it.
I remember even when I was a youth, I would think about like how we don't look up hardly ever, and I would be like, I got to try and remember to like always look up.
Yeah. Yeah. And I've been...
That was before phones, so.
I still do that. I did it before. I still do it now. A part and parcel of like, it's not good to always look at your feet. Then you're shuffling around like this Charlie Brown, like depressed, like at least look up.
That's why I always walked around when I was a kid, like not even when I was a kid, when I was a teenager, like I was always like looking down because I was like, I got to make sure I don't trip. I don't want to look like an idiot tripping, that's what I was always so worried about. But I bet it came off like I was like really, just like, oh, that guy's really, worried about people. He's like really anxious around, crowds and whatever. And I'm just like, I just don't want to trip on something.
Yeah, or accidentally kick a person. Hey, what the fuck, man? Like, oh, I'm not doing anything. Like, it happens. Yeah. So I do keep looking up at the sky, but I got bad floaters.
In really your eyes?
Bad. Yeah. So I can't trust. I can't trust anything I see.
They're that bad though?
Yeah, they're that bad.
Really?
Yeah, sky dragons.
that you would think that I can't tell if that's real.
Yeah, I'll look up, and then it'll look like there's this giant like amoeba worm, see-through worm that has like a bit of a, and it just kind of like floats by my vision.
I know.
Like, there it goes.
That's interesting. That's very interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I get that too.
Yeah.
It's funny how people just share that, those small kind of things.
Yeah.
That you only thought you had,
No,
when you were a kid. Just like, oh, I think I see something in my eyes. I must have amazing vision.
Yeah, no, and it's just globs and shit that just kind of like move around in the vision.
Yeah.
And I asked, like, well, what is this? And the eye doctor said, yeah, you do have a higher than normal amount of floaters in your eye. And it's just gunk from when you're developing.
It's got to be like, we're seeing worms though. There's got to be like, it's like a parasite or something that like lives on your eyeballs,
Well, according to the eye doctor,
bacteria.
no,
Maybe not a parasite, but like some sort of bacteria.
They look for that.
Well,
my eyes are still healthy.
See through.
Well, if I can see it, they can see it with their microscope things, right? Where you got to rest your chin on the white.
Oh yeah,
little
and then
scoop.
they do the zoom in. Yeah. Maybe they can see it in there. That's what they're looking at. Hey, when they're like having you look around and all that, it's like fucking microed right in on your eye.
Yeah, bonus points if you got a good-looking optometrist that gets all close in on the number 1, number 2, number 1, number 2. Like, I'm so happy right now.
Relaxing.
Yeah.
Next time I go for a massage, that's the music I want them to play. Is the eye doctor. The number 1, number 2.
Yeah.
Okay. Better, worse.
Maybe if I win the lottery, I'll get extra eye appointments. Like, you don't actually need it. Yeah. No, I don't. But
you're not covered for this, right? Like, oh yeah, I'll pay.
I'll give you an extra 20 if you. I just need to chill out for a minute. Number 1, number 2. That's great.
How much is it to just take the test? Really,
$100.
No, I mean, if they're like, how about we just skip all the stuff? I just want you guys to do the quick test part.
Oh yeah.
I'll pay you for 2 of those in a row.
Yeah. It's weird how there's such like a black and white, like you're in there, it's relaxing, it's nice, and then when you go to buy the glasses, it's such a hard grind for me.
Is it?
Yeah, Lisa, how about this one? How about that one? It's like, I just want to go home now. Like, I've been in here for hours.
How about these ones?
Yeah.
No, you won't like those.
No. Everything's a no. And then by the end of it, you're just like, okay, when can I have my glasses? Oh, maybe in a month or so. Bah. Anyways, spending our time complaining about glasses.
Yeah. 2 hours later.
Yeah, all stemming from a UFO I might have seen in Toronto that maybe it wasn't a UFO, maybe it was biblical deity.
Yeah.
Maybe they came down to bless our Blue Jays.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
That seems like the only explanation in my
right after that game. So that is the likely culprit. Is the game was the night before. That sorry if you're not into baseball, but those that are listening that are into baseball and watched it, it was a hell of a game. It was a hell of a game. It was great. Stayed up late for it, And the next morning, then there's like this big spotlight that I see coming from Toronto way. Of course, they're doing something.
Sorry, so the light came the next night?
The next morning.
The next morning,
yeah.
You saw it in the morning?
Yeah, in the morning. 8:15-ish a.m.
Okay, so it's still kind of dark out?
Yeah, it was still in like that in between where it could have been the angle of the sun and the way it was rising, and then if it hit something reflective right, that was a strong maybe.
That's how you have to tell yourself.
Or if they just had this massive spotlight up because they were filming something for the news in celebration of getting into the World Series.
Yeah,
it
could be.
Yeah,
they could have been flying the friggin' snowbirds or something.
It could have been
a show. They're like,
just
bring in the National Guard and fucking have them march down the street. Why not?
Yeah, a helicopter that's just kind of hanging out, and because the spotlight's on, and where it is. I can't see the rest of it. All I can see is the light.
Yeah.
So that's also possible too. Ah, fuck. I just beat down like the coolest thing I saw all week.
That's funny. They've been filming that movie Reacher, or that show Reacher, by my house.
Yeah.
And we were out on the porch one night, and it was like flashing like like a storm, and they were simulating a storm. And they were doing like flashes of lightning, and it was like a strobe light, but it was like on a crane, so it was like 5 or 6 stories in the sky flashing, and we're like, what the fuck is that blinking? Because like it's not raining out or anything, you're just seeing this strobe light in the sky. And then we look out and like see this thing on a crane, like, oh yeah, they came by our house and left a notice like, we're filming in your neighborhood.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So like expect some weirdness.
Yeah, because otherwise everybody and their mother is going to be coming out.
Oh well, I think they probably are. And it's funny because they have to let life go as normal until they actually do the filming, and then they shut it down for like a X amount of hour period. Very minimal, but they are doing it. Like they shut down Barton right in the like heart of the East Side, and people had to detour all around it for like 2 blocks because they were filming on those entire 2 blocks. And they've like taken over businesses. They had to like, I think they changed a whole bunch of people's windows and signs. I saw them going back and fixing them, like, because they had to put it all back up. So they were like going back and putting things, and I saw these newspaper things that said like USA Today and stuff that they were like packing up. It was interesting.
Yeah, because there's that whole shitty legal part to do with movies, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Like
told them about the legal. I'm sure they cover themselves 6 ways from Sunday.
Yeah, and like I'm sure Coca-Cola is probably just like, you're making an Avengers movie? Can we have all of them drink Coca-Cola at some point, or like it's smile with a can or something? Like, yeah, sure, for like $2 billion or something. They put down a price, and then they see someone else just has a storefront.
They must be pretty good at keeping it in there subliminally, because like you never really blatantly see characters drinking a Coke or whatever.
There are people that are paid to spot it and change it and edit it out. Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
If there is a product placement, it's supposed to be paid for in movies, even if it's subliminal.
No, I know, but I just mean like most scenes would have people like drinking from a glass or something like that. Maybe when they're at the bar and whatever. But I know a common trick is for like people to like fist around the beer and like turn it a certain way or whatever away from the camera, so that like you don't see the label. At least might be drinking a Bud, people could kind of notice, but if the label's not on there, then that's not it. Yeah, I think even if they say though, I mean, if they're, can I get a Bud, or something like that to the bartender, I guess that's a product placement right there, but it's like a subtle one. It's like, that cost us $25,000. Can I get a Bud?
Yeah, like oh, you like Bud more than this one, and then all the beer companies start fighting, and I want this, I want that. So that's a thing. Think of how many laptops you see in movies and TV shows, and they always got a sticker on the back.
Yeah, true, right? Yeah,
they'll never show the brand.
Yeah, even though very much looks like an Apple.
Oh, it always is. Yeah, it always is.
Apple. Yeah, because they're buying the best anyways. It's like, or they're just using like someone's laptop from around set or something like that, right? And that's going to be an Apple for sure. So
to get a black one is very rare. They're all that silver color.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And just by putting a sticker on the back, you're not fucking hiding anything, but you can't have the blatant logo out there in the world.
Not unless you get in that sweet cheddar.
Or you make up your own.
Cheddar?
Yeah. I'm sure they do that too.
That's illegal.
But just as you said with the TV show, they just make up their own, and then they cover over the signs with other signs. And easy peasy. That's the path of least resistance to them, which is insane. Absolutely insane. Yeah, redo the whole town. Like, put a town in front of the town.
No wonder these things cost so much friggin' money, right?
Yeah.
Like, how about you guys just like like some of the scenes I'm watching them prep up, like they're building a false front on top of the building that's already there, but it's like just really like barely noticeable differences. Like a window comes out a bit more, and a door, looks a little bigger or something like that. Like it's not major, but it's like, why didn't you guys just use what was there?
Yeah.
Give it a fresh coat of paint or something like that. And then at the end of it, it's like, hey, we painted your place for free. It was the same colors and whatever. Now it's just brighter.
Yeah.
Like strike up a deal with the people at the very least is my point, right? Because they can be like, no, and hold out for more or fucking whatever. But then you're just like, okay, well, we just won't. We'll use your buddy across the street or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll just use your buddy across the street, and then some people start greasing palms, and
I feel like a lot of it comes down to ego for, whoever's like doing set design or something like that, right? I don't quite know what the hierarchy is, who makes that decision, right? But it's like, that's my artistic vision right there, Maybe it's the director, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah. Would it be? I don't know. Like,
who's like, I don't like that window. Make it pop a little more. Okay.
They do that?
Well, that's what they're doing, like at this place. So like the whole place is flat, but now they've built out one of the windows so that it like looks like it's popping out, right? So they had to build like a false front on top of it. And they're leaving it for now because I think they're filming until Halloween. I think that's what their notice said, in the mailbox. But like they're filming right until on Halloween. I think that's their last day is on Halloween. I was like, I think I don't know if they're that's why I thought it might be something like a Halloween movie or something like that.
Yeah.
Like that would be a great way to end a Halloween movie. Like the last day of filming on
actually
Halloween.
On Halloween. Yeah. At least put a little text blurb at the bottom, like this is the real day. But in terms of YouTube or like my feeds, Halloween is such an important date right now. They're just going on about it. Like, I think because we passed that rapture and it was such a laughable, like, no, maybe let's try it with, and they're saying the sun activity mixed with Three Eye Atlas.
What is that?
Huh?
What does that mean? Three Eye Atlas, like mixed with Three Eye Atlas, like that's affecting our weather somehow.
It's affecting maybe the sun activity because it's a new gravity thing that is in motion.
Okay,
moving in our solar system.
Right.
So already it sounds insane because everything else in our solar system is so goddamn heavy. Our planet alone makes Three Eye Atlas look stupid in comparison.
Yeah.
So that it's not really going to affect us that much, let alone the sun. The sun is massive in weight.
It's like huge. Like, isn't like 100 Earths or 1,000 Earths or 1,000,000 Earths, something like that.
But it's so sensitive that when an object comes in, it starts getting excited. Starts throwing out more fire, and look at that. So the last one I saw, the person was claiming, they talk about everybody's gonna raise their consciousness up another level, or we're all gonna like evolve at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
And he thought it was Halloween, and then had like this big board of red string, metaphorically, and speaking about how this is gonna happen. Yeah. Because it's going to resonate like this, because of all the perfect storm of all these things happening at the same time. It's going to pop off all on Halloween day. Okay. Which is next Friday, no, not tomorrow, but the one after.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love when people give dates, because I'm always writing it down. I'm like, all right, man, I'm going to keep an eye out. Maybe you know something.
I keep on looking in the sky for Three Eye Atlas. I don't see anything different. I don't think I would, but like, really, it's going to be smaller than a star.
Yeah, I'm not expecting that. It's Apophis in 2029. That's the one that we got to watch out for.
Oh yeah.
I feel like that could be the reason people are building all these bunkers.
Could be.
Yeah, it's either that or the pole shift.
Oh yeah, that was the third thing.
Yeah,
because the 3i Atlas and all of that stuff. It's good. Our magnetic sphere is at its weakest right now.
mm-hmm. Yeah, we should watch a video on suspicious observers on YouTube.
Okay.
He's like a sun expert. You know, he studies like the daily sun output. He does a show. It's like 3 minutes long.
Yeah.
It's only like 3.5 minutes or something. Gives you like a quick update on the sun, like what kind of activity, and then a little clip of the news at the end that has to do with the solar system and whatever affects the sun.
Yeah. I've seen some of those guys that speak seriously. One guy, he was pretty serious, and I'm like, okay, I like him. And then it goes right into astrology, and I was like,
no, this guy goes all the way. He's like studying papers and I think they've written a couple papers. He's got like a couple people he's working with, I think. And now they got like some sort of ranch going where they're like observing, stars and the sun output and stuff, because all these auroras and shit.
yeah.
Like he was talking about how we were going to start seeing this kind of stuff before it started happening. And now it's happening in these huge places, like all of a sudden everywhere in the world, you're like, oh, wow, I just saw the Northern Lights. Like, when has that ever happened?
Yeah. And we always like it. If I want to know if the sun's doing something, I want to know if there's something I can do about it. So if it's just like, hey, from my calculations and what I see, just hang out in your basement for this day.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's that combined with our electromagnetic shield from I guess how the magnetism works in the earth, and now that's weakening, they goes over that, right, with the magnetic poles switching, right? Anyway, there's a mini doc on his website. We can check it out later.
Yeah, most definitely. We could bring that up. I was feverishly looking. I couldn't find the ancient satellite thing.
We have to start posting every time you see the video.
Yeah.
We got to put like, maybe we could do like a separate private post, or like maybe we can open like a Google Drive or something between the two of us, something like that we can just like clip a video and then send it there, and then we've got all the material between us, because I do that too. I wanted to show you this video this video about AI, and it was all about how it's people that are posting videos on like TikTok and YouTube and stuff, they're getting like erased. Like the AI is like going over their face and putting not only new faces on them, but this one woman, she showed the proof. She's like, I just posted this video and I just rewatched it, and this is how it came out. And she's like, basically, I started doing this tirade, and she was going on about how, I don't know, people had to do, she had some sort of message she wanted to get out. I forget what it was, how to do with spiritual energy, or maybe it was political or something. Anyway, she started giving this whole message, and it was about, a minute and a half long. And she played back the video, and she wasn't talking. She was just looking at the camera for 2 minutes without talking. And then it clips into her half talking. She's like, so then that's the kind of thing that we have to, do this together, and she's like, this thing just cut out what I was saying because it didn't like what I was saying.
Now, can you imagine, like, it probably cut it out because it didn't want what she said out in the world.
Yeah, exactly. It started with her going, and then it was 2 minutes of her just staring at the camera, like her mouth closed, and then even one point, I think she like picks her tooth or something like that, and she's like, I didn't even do that.
Yeah. So think about if it becomes entertaining. So we want to break it big on TikTok, right? We know you and I, we got this like crazy trick. We want to show it off,
right?
All they got to do is just change our faces, then they take the money.
Right. and then delete your video or whatever, and just like it never existed.
Do you read the terms of that's such a long thing that it's all written in there, and they just redid TikTok just redid it. A lot of people are leaving en masse because the fine print.
From now on, I'm gonna copy and paste that shit into ChatGPT and be like, tell me if there's anything fishy in this.
Well, see, that's the shortcut, right?
Yeah. Well, how else are you gonna do it? That's the whole point, is that it's ridiculously long. You don't know what's going on, right? I remember the first time I ever clicked on one of those fucking things, like when you start using computers and then something pops up and you're like, what the fuck is this? And it's like a contract. And like my, I can't remember, it was like it must've been my dad, because my mom was never really on a computer, but like sitting there, like with the glasses on, like trying to read this fucking thing, like going over it, because I wanted to make sure. Okay. Yeah. Okay. That's okay. That seems reasonable. Like,
yeah,
reading a whole contract about it and thinking that it's serious, right? Like, I better be fucking make sure I mean it before I click okay on this.
There have been lawyers that have amended them and sent them back.
Oh yeah.
Sometimes they get rejected. One tried it with credit card.
Right, but then you can't. It doesn't let you further, right? It's like once you say decline, then it's like, okay, goodbye. You don't get to continue the application or whatever.
I think some go through, like if it's worded correctly, like if you it's got to be in lawyer speak, which is its own language, right?
Right.
Herein, whereof, like and if you word it correctly, and then he's just like, well, instead of 19%, I want 17 or something like that. And it's all written in the correct way. So if they let it through, it's legally binding.
Right.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. Oh, can I ask a quick
favor? You want to open the door?
Right. Just I think my dog has to pee. What time is it? I hope she is 10 o'clock.
10 o'clock.
Nah.
Leave her out there for a couple minutes.
Yeah, just in case. Yeah, so that is some true crime. Just to jump into this real quick.
Okay.
It turns out it's been circulating last week that in terms of New Zealand, Canada is their number one problem.
How so?
Meth.
Oh, interesting.
The meth is coming from Canada.
Of course it is.
So they're saying that, and
like we've been hearing, known for meth.
like we've been hearing about the cartels are coming up here, and it's being made here and sent to other places.
Sure.
Now we know about this because there was a construction crew with some like young guys working over the summer. And one of the days they finished their construction or landscaping, whatever it was. And the boss said, you guys want beer? Yes, I want beer. So they had this beer called Canadian Bear or something like that.
Okay.
It was just like a weird whatever, but it had the word Canadian in it.
Knockoff?
Imported from Canada.
Okay.
All of them were drinking the beer.
Sure.
One of them, the 17-year-old, goes, this tastes weird. And then it was so many hours later, he was dead because it was liquid meth.
Oh, wow.
So that's how they were smuggling it in, is they would make up a beer over here. They would microbrew it.
Yeah.
And then like in every case, one of the cans or bottles is actually meth. And you take that and you dry it out and mix it with something else.
Oh, wow.
To have the finished product.
And somehow it slipped through?
The guy who was importing it didn't clear out all the bottles correctly, and then what he had left over, like, I don't need this. Wow. I have more beer than I can. Yeah, give it to the guys, and he was stupid about it.
That's wild.
Yeah, and because that, they knew and started following the trail, and the cost of it gave something like if you bought $50 worth in Canada, it'd be worth $300 in New Zealand. Yeah, the price difference is like that. It's like crazy expensive there.
Wow.
But that's why
that's why it's worth it. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's why they're risking it, because the people on the street will pay those god awful price. Like that's their cocaine, I guess.
I would imagine that smuggling into New Zealand has got to be pretty easy.
Well,
Right?
by the beer.
Well, yeah, by the beer, but I
Yeah.
mean, even if you wanted to just like fucking bring it in by boat or something, like I feel like they,
Oh yeah, it is shipped in by boat too. Yeah, yeah. All of what you're thinking that they were describing on the thing. Maple syrup was another one, but it's Canadian companies that they're like fuck Canada. That's what they're saying now. Fuck Canada. And so that journalist did some investigation to like try to vindicate us,
right?
and follow. Okay, who's the owner of this Canadian Bear beer?
Right.
And it was some Indian dude, I think Toronto.
Okay.
Called him.
Yeah.
You own this company? No, I don't.
Yeah.
I don't know anything about that. Then he takes off. She follows him. It's like a 20-year-old guy.
Sure. It's probably just a patsy though, right? Because it's
probably
like
just used his name.
The cartel or whoever came through and was like, hey, we need somebody to be our front. Like we pay you, $100,000 or whatever a year, and you are the company. If anyone calls or whatever,
but still,
and then he's got to be he's the one that's got to be the fall guy. That's kind of part of the payoff, right?
Yeah,
like if anything ever gets caught, they're tracing it back to you. So he's got to have a story worked out,
I think I in error said something about Mexican cartels because in this case with this meth, it's Indian cartels.
Well, I'm sure they're working in conjunction.
Yeah, or maybe in conjunction.
I mean, they could be doing it, but I mean, if the Mexican cartels are coming up into Canada, then they're probably moving pretty fast. I mean, I don't quite know our whole crime, hierarchy, but I feel like we've got like French Canadian gangsters, right? In Quebec, they've got like a pretty heavy like mafia scene there.
Yeah.
And then there's, the biker gangs and all those guys, right? They do a lot on Vancouver, that area.
Yes.
Right? Hell's Angels, I know they used to run out of some of those clubs downtown there and stuff, selling,
some of my family.
Whatnot.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. A cousin was an old lady to what are they, chapter head, or I don't know what they call them.
Treasure.
No, like the head of a chapter. Like he ran the chapter.
Okay.
And I heard that was a thing, and that was out in Vancouver.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Must be some stories there.
Probably something stories I like. That's as much as I should say.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't want to publicly say something and then like, there he is, get him.
No, but just on your, people like telling stories. So like, if you put them down like this, with a microphone and be like, let's record some of this. Tell me like, what's the first memory you had,
Yeah. And if it's a situation I wasn't in personally, then like that's just wrong up and down. So like I've only heard that my family has a Hell's Angels connection somewhere down the line. How that took form, I don't know. I have no idea. But that was Vancouver, and I have heard famously about the Quebec biker gangs.
Mm-hmm.
The biker gangs are alive and well within Canada. How they do their business. See, like you were saying, in conjunction with, that could be the culprit right there. Right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And then there's the triad, maybe?
Asian?
Right? The Asian, yeah.
Asian gangs?
Yeah, I think is the triad. No, that's the Yakuza, who's Japanese. I don't think they run out of there. Maybe
triad,
they do, but
yeah,
triad is Chinese.
Yeah.
So definitely Chinese, because it's like Chinatown is huge in Vancouver area, and I'm sure it's huge in Toronto. I mean, I've
from what I've seen,
actually, I've been down there. I mean, they've got that Chinese mall,
Oh, Pacific?
Yeah.
I think I've said it many times on this show already before. It's not the same. I weep for the days of when it was awesome.
Yeah.
Bring me back. Oh, year 2000 was so awesome. you know, you wanted to soup up your Honda Civic. It was out of that mall.
Yeah, that's funny.
Yeah.
If you wanted some like cheap knockoff luggage, you get full set for like $60.
It was at that mall. Yeah. You wanted to build a Gundam robot? Oh yeah. You wanted to mod out your video game to have all the video games for free? All the PlayStation mods, the chips. Yep, it was all done there. And then bootleg everything.
Really?
It was
the bootleg mall. Hey, of course, right?
They cracked down on it, and then it all changed. But for a golden period, you wanted anything of anything. It was all there for under $10.
Man,
yeah, I loved it.
Yeah, I taught in China, right?
Right, you were saying
lived there, and that's what it was like. Walking down the streets and going places, you see all these stores and like bootleg everything all over the place.
Yeah, it was the same in Cambodia too.
Yeah.
They had like a stylish shoe on the wall, and you picked your stylish shoe, and then you picked what brand you wanted to be after.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, you wanted to be Adidas, you wanted to be Nike. Yeah. I got all the patches right here.
Hilarious.
Yeah. Yeah, you can mix and match and make your shoe whatever you want. It's all custom there.
If I had the time, I think it'd be interesting to like put together an outfit that's of brands that are completely tailor made and stuff, but they're really small, from around the world. Like a small Cambodian shoemaker or something like that. I mean, you can probably find a guy who makes shoes, right? I mean, those are obviously probably made, not just like pumped off cheaply on a press. Some of them.
So if I were to be Batman, that's what. That's probably why he was traveling the world as Bruce Wayne.
Yeah, it was a cheap.
He was looking for his cheap labor to bring home, make all this stuff.
Yeah, who do you think made all those gadgets?
Oh yeah,
he just showed up with them as Batman. He had that cave and fucking turns on the light, and the fucking thing turns around, and
someone had to do it.
Yeah, they shipped all that in from somewhere.
Yeah. In the background is 4 guys with like brooms and overalls on. Go, motherfucker! Look at this glory hog. Yeah. It should have been Team Batman, but anyways.
Yeah. Swallow your tongue.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, the dog's in now, so I think we can close that door. Don't be a bitch.
Sit. Stay. And we'll be back.
Yeah, so our Twitter feed. Let's jump over to our Twitter.
Yeah, let's see what the people are saying.
I'm tired. Oh.
As usual, nothing.
Chrome tab.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is a call-in show. In case we didn't reiterate that. We probably didn't, but feel free to jump in at any time.
Yeah, comment.
When you see us live, and we'd be happy to take your call.
Well, we got our
live chat right there.
No live chat yet.
Well, it's not there.
Did it go off of? Oh, that's what I got to do for that. Get rid of our wallpaper.
It's blocking the.
It's blocking our
I see.
Twitter sheet. All right. So here is a classic documentary about the HIV virus. So that's the one at the very top.
Yeah. No, that's it right there. This, we were talking about this just briefly. We got into last time.
Yeah.
About the whole lifestyle aspect of it because of poppers. So this virologist dude, Peter Duesberg, at the time, I think I was telling you it was like the late 80s, early 90s. I saw this other documentary the first time. I forget what it was called. But it was basically just an interview with this doctor. And he just kept going over every part of it in a straightforward line. and pointed out all the fallacies in their, you know, what do you call it, hypothesis or whatever about HIV. So it turns out everything about that we experienced with COVID, how they rushed through with the vaccine and all that kind of stuff. It's the exact same playbook, including Fauci was involved with how HIV turned out. So it came out in like, I want to say like 82, 83, right around there is when they made the like on TV, like, explanation. We've discovered this HIV virus, and if you get it, you will develop AIDS, and it's a death sentence, and Fauci was the one that I think rubber stamped it or whatever and made it, the law, kind of how, they did with COVID, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah. The COVID, it became the law. We had to do it. I did everything they asked, lockstep.
Everybody did. Yeah.
Everybody did. And one guy that I was working with in an office made a lot of sense to me. And I knew I wasn't going to do anything different anyways. But they were giving him a real hard time, and he didn't want to get the vaccine. And I thought he was just a troublemaker. Right. But he said to me on the side, he's like, I've caught COVID. I've got it. I know my body, how it treats it. I'll survive COVID. Why do I need this shot? If it's like the flu and I'm supposed to get a flu shot, but it's my choice whether I get it or not, and I choose no.
Yeah.
And then now we have a COVID shot and I'm choosing no, but I might lose my job. And he goes, how does that make sense?
Yeah, it doesn't.
It doesn't make sense. No, like, you're right. And but at the same time too, we within that circle, that guy's boss lost his father to COVID.
Right.
Or so they said. That was the reason they gave him.
Sure.
He wasn't allowed to collect his father's body. He wasn't allowed to see his father die.
Wow, really? Hey?
He was just gone. He went into the hospital and just...
From COVID?
Yeah.
Well, as we know, basically, if anything happened to people during that time...
And they suspected or had a hint of it or anything, that was the cause of death. That was the whole thing.
But once we discovered they were getting paid, which was pretty early into it, we're like...
Yeah.
You're like, oh, wow, they're getting... whatever it was, $5,000 every time they get a diagnosis, and then like $25,000 if it's like a dead body that happens to have it. So that's why all of a sudden it was like all these dead people were, having COVID, because it was like people that were dying of different things. And they're like, oh, we tested them, they've got it.
Yeah.
And I think the idea kind of behind it was that it was kind of undetectable, like the PCR tests they had for it. If it had something to do with the cycles, right? Like if you spun it around in this machine, you're supposed to like spin it like 3 or 4 times to get a sample from it. But they were spinning it like 26 or 30 times. And then apparently once you go that far, it's like impossible to get a straight reading. So you can mix chemicals and whatever to turn blue and turn pink on however much of, whatever you've kind of got, set as the parameter there. But they become pretty ineffective over a certain level for detection. And the false positives or whatever became like really off the hook over a certain level.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, and we saw the money part was those affected or had the most COVID got the most money. They kept it like that. So the doctors had an incentive, a financial incentive, to make them COVID positive deaths. If it was a heart attack, well, smear some COVID in there. Did you detect it? Yeah, it was there. Okay. And so these are all COVID deaths, and we have this massive problem. Was it a massive problem or a massive greed problem? Were
Definitely
they
greed?
Yeah. Were doctor, like, what did all the other illnesses dip during that time? It was too hard to tell because everybody who went to the hospital caught COVID immediately.
Yeah, there was something about, I guess it was after the shots or something, but like all cause mortality like went up, like 60% or 40% or some ridiculous number, you
Yeah.
know.
My like, I know myself, my own body, each and every booster shot got worse and worse.
Really?
Yeah,
Oh, so you took all the
all of them,
shots? Hey, oh wow.
all of them, and I don't want to take any more. The next one is going to hurt bad.
Oh my god. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
like,
you felt affected by them?
fuck yeah.
Really?
Oh yeah. I'd be fine, and
Uh-huh.
then there would just be a moment that'll hit me where I start shivering uncontrollably, and like I feel like ill, and I like groan.
This is after you got the shots.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It would take, I would say, between 6 and 12 hours,
Sure.
somewhere in that, where it would hit me like a ton of bricks, and I got to go to bed,
Right.
and bed is tossing and turning and just feeling awful and shaking.
Oh, really?
Just the shivers, shakes, tremors.
Right. And they would say that's the reaction because you're getting a portion of the virus, right?
Yeah, and
So
your
it's
your
like
body's processing it.
yeah, and getting the antibodies from it instead of naturally.
Oh, and keep in mind too, like I'm dramatic. So
All
psychosomatic,
men are.
yeah, psychosomatic is like I account that for a part of it too. It's got to be because each time it was getting worse. The amount of shivering and
Sure.
like just sickness
Like
pain
each
I felt.
shot you got?
Each one was
Oh.
heavier and heavier each time, to the point I'm too afraid to get the next one.
Right. But so and how many did you get then?
3.
3. Wow. So after the first one you didn't say fuck it? Because I think you could
After
have
the
got away
first
with
one,
just taking the one.
after the first one, it was like meh, like I had what I described, but
I would have
like
thought the first one would be the worst one.
no,
No?
it got more intense.
I
as
guess
time
because
went on.
you're probably because it's a buildup, right? So
Yeah.
the first one, like your body processes most of it out. And then the second one, you're like, oh, you've got 25% from the other one in there. Now you keep, it's flushing it out. Now you've got 50%, right? And then
Yeah.
a third one, you got 75%, right?
and through that, like I caught COVID.
Right.
Like I got
So it's like you
the
just got a
illness.
couple extra sicknesses, like
Yeah.
self-induced sicknesses.
Yeah, even
Yeah.
with those shots, I caught it, and like maybe with the vaccines,
Mhm.
maybe COVID would have killed me, but because I get vaccines, it's okay. Because like I was upset while I had it, but I certainly didn't think I was gonna die. Like I wasn't happy. I was sick.
Right.
I was very obviously sick, but the death, I couldn't see how people would have those issues on this illness.
Hmm.
It wasn't like, knock on wood, it wasn't as bad as the flu. I've had the flu way worse than that.
Yeah. Yeah, I caught the flu, like, I want to say last winter, just randomly. And yeah, I think it was because I was supposed to go to Christmas. We were going to have it at my wife's parents' house. And I literally got sick on Christmas morning. So we were driving over there on Christmas morning, and we woke up, and like as we're packing up the car, I just started feeling sick, and I was just like, "Oh my god, I'm not making it." And I
Yeah.
started shivering, and then it was like just like violent illness by myself while they all took off, and had 2 days at home. So that was kind of nice though too. Just relax and fucking
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, like illness has its own, like you can see it as a cup full, half full. It sucks, but
Yeah. Well, so that particular flu, I mean, I don't, do tests for any of that shit. So
yeah, same.
I don't know if I had COVID, but it was a horrible flu. But I would think that it wasn't, because when I got COVID the first time, it was like nothing, I got tested, like, oh, I got sent home from work. I had to miss work for 2 weeks because I didn't have the vaccine. So they're like, oh, you know, if you have the vaccine, you got 1 week suspension, and if you didn't have it, then you had a 2-week suspension. Like that extra week was going to make the difference, right?
I know.
So yeah, I got it on like a Wednesday. So they're like, okay, well, so we'll see you in 2 weeks. They all, you know, they were like calm. Well, not my foreman didn't care. He didn't say anything, although I'm sure they had quite a talk about it after I left. But another one was like, I don't see why you guys can't just get the shot. Like, why would you like give up a week of work so that you could, just because you don't want to get a shot? Doesn't make sense.
Yeah, but if you're going to be paid for it, and there was all that money that they were throwing around the CERB, and which I never.
Yeah. Those guys, some of the guys I worked with, they're like, yeah, fuck, I grabbed it. Why not, man? Like, free money.
Didn't they have to pay it back later?
But they didn't know that at the time, right? They just kind of were putting them out like, oh, this is a thing. Normally, when you get a government thing like that, you know, and they didn't give people enough, you know, information about it. They just said like, oh, you know, we're putting this thing out. We're going to give it, anyone that needs it can apply for it. And they didn't say like, you know, explicitly. I think it was probably just common sense. Like, if you don't need it, don't take it. Right.
Yeah.
But so you know, everyone that was like, oh yeah, I got that. I was like, you know, you're going to have to pay that back. Right. Yeah. But you know, it's like a interest-free loan, you know.
No.
Didn't quite work that way.
No, I knew government tricks.
Yeah.
I knew to stay away.
Mm-hmm.
So
it's a phishing scam, basically.
Let's start this up and see what they have to say. Where's the full screen?
But double clicking in the center of it. There you go.
Yeah.
42 million people are infected with HIV. Ten people reportedly die from AIDS every second. I'm sure that number's increased since 2009.
There's nothing like HIV. There's no disease, no infectious disease that essentially kills everyone who gets it.
The fear factor's gone. And yet getting HIV infection is a problem for any individual.
See if it'll go full screen from here. I saw the thing in the bottom corner there.
There is this sense of
exit full screen.
Oh, never mind.
It isn't better. And all these people, these 40 plus million people living with the virus, they will die of AIDS.
Over the past 3 decades, humanity has rallied together for the AIDS cause. People from all walks of life have united across all social and economic boundaries, joining hand in hand for one common purpose: to end AIDS.
And Magic Johnson is still alive.
Yeah.
Say the name of the person you're walking for.
We're basically just getting his blood injected into you, you know? Can I get some of that Magic Johnson blood?
I'm walking for everybody that isn't here to walk for themselves.
But I wonder if he has just like the money to kind of isolate and be extra careful and survive on it. Pause it quick.
So I had always heard originally, this is like when I was in high school, my teacher was telling us about AIDS and all that. And he was like, well, Magic Johnson, he has HIV and he's managed to not get AIDS because he has the money to have a personal trainer. He has a very strict diet. And apparently, you know, my teacher was like, oh yeah, he goes to the gym every day and he has to work out for up to 8 hours just to keep his body healthy. And that, because if he loses his immune system, he's gone.
So he can work his body into health. You just have to keep going.
Yes. That was that was the secret to it. But he was like, you know, that's what we said. Well, can't you just, you know, do that? And he was like, well, he has the money to have personal trainers and stuff that can keep him going. And you know, doesn't make sense. Like, if you have the will to live, then you'd be like, I'm just going to do fucking push-ups for fucking 8 hours straight, you know, like squats and fucking, you know, planks.
Well, I would call that the will to live. Yeah. Yeah, even with all the money in the world, you just might be like, you know what, today, no. I just can't. But, to each their own anyways.
Exactly.
All right.
Statistics are growing, all except for one. That's the amount of people cured, and it's still zero.
In theory, we could cure AIDS on a piece of paper. Maybe someday it'll come. I can't say when.
Despite all the major progress we have in chemotherapy of those patients, none of these patients got rid of the virus.
I don't think the pharmaceutical industry is very interested or invested in a cure. I don't mean to be too cynical, but the reality, I think, is that, the situation they've got now, which is lifetime treatment with expensive drugs, that kind of suits them pretty well.
A cure
Robert-
is going to require some very tricky and sophisticated.
First doctor to diagnose. This guy that did this documentary got basically everyone. Like, I'm pretty sure Fauci's in this.
So what I'm noticing is a lot of German names.
Right. Gottlieb.
Gottlieb.
First doctor to diagnose AIDS. That's a really important factor. So
Yeah.
let's try and remember this dude, because I'm sure like when they interview more in depth these answers, then his attitude towards it will tell you a lot about, oh, okay, I don't know if I trust this guy's decision making and certain things,
Well, the last guy talking was a part of the Koch Institute.
Which guy?
The doctor that was talking before that's before the show Nova. They sponsor the show Nova.
Are you sure? What was his name? Robert Gallo? Can you go back? Try the backward key, like not actually like that with the keys, like the directional keys. Try backwards and see if that works. Yeah, you can go frame by frame. That guy? Kenneth Cole?
There.
That guy. Okay.
Wait.
This is the guy.
Despite all the
Him.
Oh, okay. So go back.
President Robert Koch Institute, Germany.
Okay.
This. Well, then that's a pretty German name.
Sure.
Oh, his name is Reinhard.
Okay.
Yeah.
major progress we have in chemotherapy of those patients, none of these patients got rid of the virus.
Okay.
I don't think the pharmaceutical industry.
Okay. Use the thing and go back again to the guy just before him. That guy. So he is the guy who discovered HIV/AIDS. And he's the one that went on TV and said, we've discovered the virus. And he's the one that got all the credit for it. So like in the history books, that guy is the one like that discovered it, even though as we find the people who actually discovered it were French scientists, I think. And they sent it to him for review, and he took their fucking discovery and claimed it as his. So much so that there was an international court case, like under the UN court, because they were suing him, and they came to some sort of agreement. But because they knew it was going to come down to a lot of money and shit like that, right?
Because they're saying
For these drugs, same thing that Fauci was involved with the COVID. Like they're like, oh yeah, this is what we need to do. I think they get into it, but I mean, the drugs that they end up using to cure HIV/AIDS they have investment in, and they were blacklisted cancer drugs that were so dangerous you couldn't even use them for people who had cancer. But since AIDS is a death sentence, it's a chance, right? So they can finally sell these things that they had no market for before.
To their biology, and I frankly don't see it happening.
Ever?
Ever.
Kudos to this guy. I forget his name, but I'm sure
I
it'll
was
come
born
up.
in 1980, a year before AIDS exploded onto the public consciousness. I grew up beneath its shadow like a child raised under the threat of the mushroom cloud. You might say I am a member of the first HIV/AIDS generation. I've never known
I
a
guess I
world
would
without
call
it.
us that.
This film
We
is
were all
a
scared of
my
it.
journey through the
Yep.
shifting sand surrounding HIV/AIDS. AIDS has been front page news for nearly 30 years. Yet how much do any of us really know about HIV and AIDS?
Every 2 years, hey, they're always like, we're 2 years away from a cure.
Yeah.
Always in the news. Keep that in mind because they bring that up in this. But
What is the difference between HIV and AIDS? I don't know exactly.
HIV.
Okay, I'm going to answer that one because what I know is from, I'm going to speak from gym class or health in high school.
Right.
Canadian sanctioned. You should know this. HIV is the virus, and it can hang out in your system when it becomes full bloom. That's when it's AIDS, and it just kills your immune system.
And it's a syndrome.
So you can be HIV and still okay for many years.
Mm-hmm.
It's when it triggers into AIDS. Yeah,
exactly.
Wow.
These people are all at an HIV/AIDS walk. They can answer the question. Yeah. I mean, not everyone.
那 AIDS 是那个病，所以两种是完全不一样的东西。
It's the same
AIDS
thing.
is the actual disease.
It's the same
I don't know
thing.
really. I don't know the difference. I know HIV is less deadly.
Going all over the world.
Pour moi, il y en a pas forcément. Enfin, c'est vrai que j'établis pas de différence entre les deux.
What would you say is the difference between HIV and AIDS?
He blew his whole budget traveling around to these countries. Like, where is it?
It's effective, though.
It's just the starting point.
HIV is a virus.
The actual virus is AIDS.
People around the globe were just as confused as I was. So I sought out the world's leading HIV/AIDS authorities, among whom were the discoverers of HIV, the key White House advisor on AIDS issues,
There
and the
he is.
executive director
See, he
of
did get
UNAIDS'
Fauci in
global
this.
response to the epidemic. Meeting with these distinguished experts, I candidly asked, what is the difference between HIV and AIDS?
The difference between HIV and AIDS is a really critical concept, and unfortunately it's one that seems to escape a lot of people, or just they don't remember it after hearing it.
HIV is a virus. AIDS is a syndrome caused by infection with the virus. So you don't get infected with AIDS. You
You
get
were
infected
right.
with
Woo!
HIV, and that causes AIDS.
Yeah.
The biggest problem with the HIV theory of AIDS is HIV.
There is a group of AIDS denialists that say that HIV does not exist and has never been isolated, which is as bizarre as it gets.
We do not say that HIV doesn't exist. What we say is that the presently available data does not prove the existence of HIV.
The reality is that HIV does exist and does cause AIDS.
I mean, the evidence is incontrovertible.
Nobody's
HIV
ever
causes AIDS.
like found the
Right,
virus,
that's a theory that's there.
isolated
Let
the
that
virus.
theory
They have a test
be
for
there.
it, but you
But
can't
let's have some
actually
other
find it.
conversations. Let's have some other
Oh,
research.
that's
Let's
why
have
they're
some
saying
other
some people are
findings.
saying it
Maybe
doesn't
something
exist.
else is working here. No.
Why nearly 3 decades since its discovery does there continue to be debate over HIV? Why is there no cure in sight? To answer these questions, I needed context. The past is prologue, so my journey begins with a step back in time.
The
National Center for Disease Control is reporting more cases of 2 rare and deadly diseases found in homosexual men. There is no apparent explanation for the outbreak.
Yeah, 1981. They'll just yeah.
Gay diseases. That's because it was only happening in the gay community.
When people are dying every day from a disease the CDC has yet to name. For crying out loud, if the CDC won't name it, at least demand the press stop calling it GRID.
Well, unfortunately, I have to take credit for coining the term GRID, which stood for gay-related immune deficiency. We were seeing a cluster of gay men who were suddenly critically ill of pneumocystis pneumonia, which was the indicator disease of something new, and reported our findings to the CDC.
I was the chief of the STD division at the CDC at that time when the draft report of 5 cases of pneumocystis in gay men came across my desk for review.
Don't you think they still should have been smart enough to not call it a
Shortly
gay
afterward,
disease?
Cases of a very rare cancer called Kaposi sarcoma were diagnosed in young gay men.
That's
My
awful.
first reaction was,
Mhm.
this is an extraordinarily important finding.
The CDC was looking for something like that when it came along. They were
Pause
looking
it for a
for it
sec.
already. They were hoping.
This is the guy that invented that PCR test that discovered COVID that they did for the tests for COVID. That's him.
Oh,
Kerry Mullis.
Oh, he invented the PCR test?
Yes.
He invented the PCR test because of LSD.
Right. He had the idea from LSD, right?
Yeah, he took a bunch of acid.
And somehow came up with the idea for the test.
Yeah. So this guy's going to be an authority.
There was going to be a new plague because polio was over. The CDC's budget was getting decreased. This is back in like the early 80s.
There was double-digit inflation, a very high unemployment, a rapid military buildup, and a threat to decrease all domestic programs. And this led to reductions in force in the public health service, particularly.
This is a pretty interesting theory that they're creating these things to keep the CDC money flowing.
For reduction and even theoretically for closure.
There were memos around the CDC says we need to find a new plague.
For them to justify their expenses
That's
and their
him.
existence and make their careers, they have to find infectious diseases.
We need to find something that'll scare the American people so they won't want to give
He's
us
the
more
one that
money.
discovered this whole
Once
scam.
people recognized that this was likely caused by a virus, the media attention went from no news coverage to the most covered news story in history. People went from neglecting it to fear and panic. Maybe I can get it.
Yeah.
Look at that headline.
Sudden AIDS was a very fundable project, and I suppose the psychology they worked on was the fact that they thought, well, in Congress, essentially this is white, straight, heterosexual men who are the congressmen, and if they feel they can't fuck around without, being worried about AIDS, they're going to let the dollars out, and it worked.
Suddenly there was a lot of money available for anybody who wanted to study HIV. And nobody ever looked back and said, why do we want to study HIV? Bob Gallo said on television, causes AIDS.
The evidence shows that this disease is not merely confined.
Yeah, it already feels pretty confusing.
I motion to call the disease acquired immune deficiency syndrome, AIDS.
In 1982, Dr. Harry Haverkos was one of the Centers for Disease Control's epidemiologists tasked with defining AIDS.
AIDS refers to a syndrome, and its definition changes periodically.
AIDS is a chronic disease. It's based on its immunodeficiency.
AIDS is not a disease, right? AIDS is a whole lot of different things. Depends on what country you're in.
When your CD4 count falls below a certain arbitrary level, by definition, you have AIDS.
That's
When
Fauci.
someone's count goes down and then it goes back up again, it's
So you can make yourself AIDS through, because your immune system can go down from stress, right?
Yeah, but you get really low. The only things that take you down to that max, yes, stress will take you there, but you need a cofactor that's going to take you down to zero. And the only things that are going to do that are, a collapse of your immune system from, say, extreme drug use, right? It's things like that, or poverty. Extreme hunger, like if you're starving to death, then your immune system is like the not the first thing to go, but like as you've got those extended bellies and shit like that, your immune system's gone.
Yeah. Okay.
So keep that in mind for later.
politically they may still have AIDS. Medically, I don't think they do.
If you develop any of a number of opportunistic infections or diseases, that puts you in the category of AIDS.
We don't even know what AIDS is. AIDS is so hard to define because they change the definition of it every year.
The definition of AIDS has broadened over
Fauci,
time.
I bet.
It was revised in 1985, and then again in 1987.
The changes in the definition have been political. Every time they change the definition, the numbers go up.
The definition has changed many times. The biggest change was probably in 1993, which they then, added the CD4 count and HIV, and, so you could not even be ill, but if you had a CD4 count consistently below 200, you now had AIDS.
A closer look at the Centers for Disease Control's
Consistently.
documents reveals
Yeah.
that AIDS numbers actually declined in 1993, but a retroactive definition change increased the estimates by more than 100%.
The more diseases they could lump into this AIDS syndrome, S stands for syndrome,
right? Like basically,
the chances are
here, pause
we
it
get
again.
patients under that umbrella.
Basically, how we were talking about how when people died and they would say like, "Oh, you've got COVID," even though you died of anything else. That's the same how this works. If you've got like, let's say you die of lung cancer, they test you. If you have HIV, then you died of AIDS. If you don't have HIV, you died of lung cancer. So next thing, throat cancer. What name it? That's what he's saying. Every time they add something else, like, oh, you died of this. Did you have HIV?
Yeah.
Right. And the other thing that they get to is HIV. Like technically, the test for it, if you randomly took like say 10 people and gave them the test, there'd be a good chance that a couple of them would have it, even though they don't have even though they don't actually have what you would say is HIV. It's just that it's basically what they get to is that like it's a common cold, like you get it and it's like a flu basically. And then at the end of it, your body creates an antibody. That's what the test for HIV is, for the antibody. So these people against it are saying, I think that this is just a disease that's always been around, and they're only testing you for it. That's the key thing here. It's not like COVID where they're testing everyone. They're specifically keeping it to, do you do drugs? Are you having unprotected sex? Well, let's test you for this. Right? If you're not, they don't test you for it. And then there's no chance that you're going to add to that number of HIV positive people, right? So they're not, going to have the chance of getting a false positive because they're only giving it to people that are already in the target audience. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, I mean, if you have 100 drug users and you're going to give them the test, well, 10 of them have fucking HIV. How about that? Right? Whereas if you took 100 healthy people and then you did the same test, well, 10 of them might have it too, right?
Yeah. And like if you're a medical doctor and you're buddies with the director and he's saying, if we have just one more AIDS patient, we enter that bracket where we get 10 grand instead of 5 grand per person or something like that. Like that's what the doctor's looking at. And the person that just died under his care has track marks up and all down his or her arm. Like, oh, well, they died of an OD, but if I tell the family there was HIV in there, they'd believe it.
Yeah.
Right. And then I get my money and, nobody's hurt.
Yeah. That's kind of the same idea.
But you play that game. Where's the line?
Yeah.
You start moving it.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. They keep adding to it. They like you saying, they change the definition every year. It's like, oh, here's 2 new diseases or something that include to it, and that's how they keep the number up because they retroactively go back and are like, oh, okay, we had it turns out that this is added. Well, how many people died of that last year? 1,000. Well, according to the math, X amount of people should have had it, so we can add that to the total.
Yeah.
Right. And they just kind of fudge the numbers that way where they're using models and all this shit that's like theoretical based on certain things. But if that one certain aspect is wrong when they start it or off, then all of a sudden they're adding these numbers that are just phantom fucking numbers. Right. Yeah. And that's what this becomes, like the title of the movie, A House of Numbers, where they keep giving you all these stats and numbers. And then the more you look at it, you take the bottom one out and the fucking thing collapses.
So, do you even just call it like a little bit of a timeout while we're delving into this and, swinging our steins going, yeah, it's this. There is something amongst when people have unprotected sex, they catch something that has similar symptoms to the next person, and through needle drugs. We have found HIV, AIDS, and it's this kind of thing. Someone I knew had a brother that died of it. That's as much of a personal
of HIV.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So that's as much as I've seen and experienced is heard my brother died of that. He was a needle drug user.
Right.
Okay.
That's where we get into the numbers game.
Yeah.
I personally have someone in my family who has had HIV for I want to say 20 years.
Okay.
And I just saw them, I want to say 2 years ago, maybe 3 years ago, at like a event.
So it's got to be pretty heavy to think that the reality of it is they might get sick and go at any time.
Well, maybe, but I've never had any kind of fear about that, and I've actually like checked in with people to see, how they're doing on that front, and it's always seemed positive, And when I saw them, they seemed fine, last time.
Now I know,
like completely healthy and everything. I mean, I obviously didn't probe around about it, anything like that, but I can just tell. I mean, you see a healthy person, and and so I kind of keep an eye out because I'm interested in their health, and it's always looking good.
Yeah, well, because
so I would love to know, their secret.
Sure.
Yeah,
and
I'm sure it's just healthy living.
It might be that
the Magic Johnson cure.
Yeah,
Right?
maybe they're doing something like we want to know, but then there's also the having like grace about it. You know what I mean? Like I agree with you saying you don't want to probe because like that's their business, right? And if it's their cross to bear, like you don't want to run up to them and be like, "Hey, how's the AIDS?" You know?
Well, it's not AIDS.
Oh, it's HIV.
Yeah.
Well,
no, AIDS is a death sentence for sure. But how do you get to that point? That's where this all comes to in this movie is, let's say you had a flu, okay? A random flu.
Yeah.
And you go to the doctor and they say, "Oh, listen, if you don't take these drugs, you are almost definitely going to die." What do you think you're going to do?
Well, I'm going to take the
You're
drugs.
going to take the drugs, right? But then you start taking the drugs and they start making you sick. And then you go to the doctor and you say, "I'm starting to get sick." And they test you and they're like, "Well, it's not really the drugs. It's the sickness."
Yeah.
Right? Do you keep taking the drugs or do you stop? Well, some people stop. They start to get better. And then, they put 2 and 2 together. Whereas other people continue the drugs because the doctor keeps telling them to. And they're like, "Well, I keep getting my blood tested and it's all my fucking T cells keep dropping." And that's that's what he was saying to, T have to go. And then under that, it's the AIDS syndrome. And then you're pretty much gone after that. That's your entire immune shutdown.
Yeah, then you're just waiting for the next illness to cross your path.
Exactly. Then you get fucking pneumonia or whatever it is, and that's what knocks you out, right?
Yeah. Like a common cold has strong enough symptoms to kill you if you don't have an immune system.
Right. So is it better to try and fight off this HIV virus naturally with just good human health, or is it better to take these super ultra high toxic drugs that we discover because they're your only chance? Now originally they used this AZT drug, like I said, which is the black label cancer drug. I think they may still use a variation of that, but they use what they call cocktails since then, where it's like you take this drug plus these other 2 that will like boost your blood cell count, and this one, will boost your serotonin, whatever, like that. They've got their mixture, right? And they always just change it around, and they're like, "Oh, this is a little bit better, and it's going to make you a bit healthier," while the other one poisons you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like a 1 step forward, 2 steps back until you just eventually succumb. And then what do you say? "Well, I've been on the drugs," and they're like, "Well, you knew that this was a death sentence the whole time." That one doctor that they started with there, who was like, he's like running the AIDS division for the UN. He said, I think that every single person that has HIV is going to die from it eventually.
Yeah. And what are the drugs? Like black label ACL, like you're saying that
AZT, yeah.
Those are just words and letters, but drugs are just factually plants. You know, you get a plant and you
can
refine
highly process. Yeah.
Highly processed.
I don't know that it's going to be plants though. You can use chemicals. Plants aren't necessarily.
You get
are
chemicals from plants.
Well, you synthesize into things that I don't think they find in plants necessarily.
So,
like acids and things like that. I mean, that would kill plants.
Even to synthesize something, you need to start from somewhere, and that could be a mineral from the ground, or it could be like derived from a plant where they would boil and then like, okay, you got this green liquid, okay, strain it, and then the crusty stuff on top, and then mix in this and mix in that, and so on, so on, so on.
Look into that whole process.
Yeah,
it's pretty fascinating.
Like a whole process of how you even make a Tylenol.
Yeah,
and that's from birch bark.
Okay,
is like the original,
right? The original, yeah,
spot from it. You take the birch bark and then down the process, you get Tylenol, pain relief,
right?
Because that chemical's in there, and you've separated that out of the plant. Right. My one cousin that is a nurse and works in oncology was saying that chemo that is derived from an African tree bark.
Okay,
it's a certain kind of African tree bark.
Wow.
And when they refine a chemical that's in that, that fights our cancer.
Interesting.
So
that could make sense then. Yeah,
whatever poison they're using on these AIDS patients is whatever they've approved of. Sure. We've refined it and have it like this. Oh, it's not working. We have to change step 26 in the process.
Yeah.
And, tweak it just a little bit, see what happens. And that takes years and years and years.
Yeah. Like I think don't apple seeds have cyanide in them?
Yes.
Yeah, like really small amount that like you'd have to eat like fucking 100 apples to be affected by the cyanide, like all in a row or something like that, right?
But if you knew how to refine.
Exactly. You just take 1,000 seeds from, 1,000 apples or whatever and get that all crushed and into a powder and dry it out. Then all of a sudden you've got a very potent poison, right?
Yeah. You might have to like boil it and then add one thing to it. More,
but whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. I was watching an African guy making Quaalude drugs.
Oh, neat.
So it was like one chemical and boiling, and the guy interviewing was saying like this part is like super cancerous. Aren't you concerned about what's boiling off? And he's like, there's blood in my pee.
Did he really?
Yeah, he was like confiding into him he was I think he was MD.
So he's already dying then.
He's already dying, and then like transferring it to a tub, like, oh, it's the right temperature now, and now I add this powder and stir it until it gets, because I see this, the chemical reaction happened properly, I transferred it here, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
That turns into a pill.
Interesting.
Quaalude pill. And that was seemingly chemicals, but those chemicals came from somewhere else.
Right.
That's like that. That's why it said we have cancer.
Of life.
I know. That's why we have cancer, because we have such processed, like one small molecule from a plant. I can even say glucose fructose. That's from corn. Any kind of sweetness you taste in corn, they've extracted that into a syrup.
Yeah, right. Man, I used to put corn syrup on my ice cream when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Oh, what a treat.
Yeah, that it's heavy shit. Anyways.
I love it.
The more patients they could catch.
As time goes along, definitions get used for a variety of issues, and some of those are not based solely on scientific decisions, but politics and
money,
capitalism, and reimbursement comes into play.
You just said money 3 times.
Hepatitis C, even say here in San Francisco, if you got hepatitis C and only hepatitis C, you're shit out of luck.
Having an AIDS diagnosis, I get a free apartment. The city of San Diego pays my apartment.
I can have the state of California pay for many medications related to HIV.
I get Social Security benefits.
I can get discounts on my supplements at the local health food store.
I also get food stamps and in-home supportive cleaning services.
So I was basically a healthy person.
You guys living in
walking
fucking
around,
paradise too, hey? It's like birds
and
chirping in the background
yeah,
because
I
they're all
had
in
these
California.
wonderful little perks, you know.
You get all these benefits. I mean, that we fought for and got.
A
But
wheelchair
the end result has been
handicap. That's it.
sort of an imbalance. I mean, we succeeded. I'm glad we did, but it is a little unfair.
Politics, insurance, capitalism, benefits, you can be sick or healthy. I never would have thought that AIDS was so convoluted.
Wait,
Is that a Coke?
notice his can?
Oh, it's blurred out. Yeah.
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 Yeah. They can't show it.
They can't show it. I wonder what it is. Beer?
I never
Or
would have
Coke?
thought that AIDS was so convoluted.
Right. Well, as I said, that has changed. How you define that scientifically has changed quite often.
Guys got a
Which just
nice
makes it
property there.
difficult to, for
Oh, yeah.
the lay
Quite
people
rich.
to understand. It makes it difficult for me to interpret the numbers.
Africa is purported to have the highest incidence of AIDS cases on the planet. So
I
trekked
feel
to
like I
South Africa
intuitively
to
know
witness
that.
firsthand
Mhm.
the impact of AIDS on that troubled continent. Around 10 million of South Africa's 48 million people have been reported to have AIDS. It's only a 10-minute drive from Cape Town's
25%.
pristine modern
10 million
airport
of 48
to the
million.
squalor of neighborhoods said to be ravaged by AIDS.
Well, there's also a lot more.
Okay.
There's also a lot more stories of rape.
Sure. Yeah. That's the excuse for the spread of it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the excuse. I've also heard the excuse of just not understanding.
Mm-hmm.
Like they were putting condoms on bananas and putting them on their nightstand, and like I don't
Sure.
understand.
Yeah.
I have AIDS, she has AIDS, and we have a baby with AIDS.
Yeah.
We put the condom on the banana like you showed us. So that's another factor that we're supposed to believe in. I personally don't.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe they saw that once and just started saying it a million times.
Yeah.
And then there's drug use. The poverty in Africa is supposed to be the most,
Sure,
the worst,
right?
And so needle drug use has got to be way more prevalent.
Well, you would think so, but then that's where this comes back to the numbers again, because they can't lie all the time on the numbers because there's too many numbers to compete against, right? So like you say, 58% of these people and 38% of these people, and eventually, these numbers get too jumbled up, right? You discover, okay, well, here they're trying to say in Africa, you got 10 million people that have HIV/AIDS. They're saying of those 10 million, it's about 5 million men, 5 million women, roughly, maybe 4 and 6, right?
Yeah.
But it's a roughly equal. 48%, I think, is what they say. So in America, it was 98% gay men that had this. So they're like, okay, that's why they were calling it the gay syndrome and whatever, is because it was only in gay men. It wasn't even drug users. They were seeing it in drug users, but it was the epidemic in gay men. And so they were trying to connect it. And they're like, well, why is it that these gay men are getting it and then these drug users are getting it too? Oh, well, they must have got the HIV and then they're sharing needles. So he passed it to him. Now he's got the HIV because like these drug users are they're not paying attention. They don't care. And that's what you thought it was. It's like people using dirty needles. That's where drug users were getting it from, apparently.
Not necessarily dirty needles, but when you do, like, let's say heroin through a needle, you got to draw a little blood first and mix it.
Sure.
And then you put it back in.
Yeah.
Or sometimes there's like a little bit of blood in a needle for whatever reason.
Sure. But how healthy do you think a drug user is that's doing heroin? Like, and passing out in a bed and then waking up and then, stumbling around and then looking for another hit. How healthy would you say their immune system is?
Yeah, that would be a straight up spectrum.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. is how well their body can take it. Basically, I mean, if they keep taking, not eating, that's why they're gaudy and thin and whatever, right? Because food is a secondary impulse. Normally, you're like, oh fuck, I'm starving, I'm so hungry, but when you're a drug user, your body's like, I need the drug. We can worry about food later, and like that's where your hunger is. Like, oh my god, I really need that fucking hit, right? You're not even thinking about the fucking how hungry you are, right?
Yeah.
And then, as we see, that's the number probably 2 reason for fucking, your immune system failing is starvation and malnutrition, right? So all of a sudden your vitamins and fucking all that shit's out of whack. You're completely vitamin D deficient. We know that's huge, in your immune system now, right? And we've only kind of spotlighted that in the last few years, even though, I mean, people knew that before, but like, it's like really been spotlighted in the since COVID, that vitamin D is a huge part of your fucking health, for sicknesses and stuff. It's a hormone, right?
Yeah. They were saying it's,
they call it vitamin D. It's a hormone.
Yeah.
I think that's what they said. Like it's an actual like bodily hormone that you create. Like,
yeah. And in different levels based on your skin color.
Oh, okay.
Remember they were saying because
the vitamin, from getting sunlight, right?
Right, and because their skin has sunglasses, so they can withstand the African or even the Asian sun.
Right,
they were more susceptible to COVID because they had less vitamin D.
Right.
Especially during the winter when we had less sun.
Yeah.
During the summer, everyone's okay, but us white people, we apparently we store it.
Yeah,
a little bit of sun, and
we're like solar panels.
Yeah, like solar panels. We just need a little bit of sun, and we can get quite a lot off of that.
Pasty panels. All right. So, anyways, this part's important because now he's like straight up in Africa. So, I mean, you get a glimpse into what it's like in Africa in an AIDS crisis, right?
Yeah.
It's World AIDS Day. There are functions, there are gatherings. The international theme is Stop HIV and AIDS. Keep the promise. So many years later, we keep saying the same things. HIV. And yet
each time I hear words like HIV and AIDS, I just want to pull my hair out. I'm just so fatigued.
Oh, her name is Canada.
The messaging. All we talk about is AIDS. It's a sex virus. You have to use condoms or you die.
Yeah,
look at that.
Message.
Beware, avoid
People can't
casual
think
sex.
outside AIDS anymore. It's just a shocking, sad reality.
The first AIDS
tattoos on her
the
face is
continent of
beautiful,
Africa
eh?
was in 1985 in Bangui.
We were there with a few people who had experience on AIDS in Africa. And one of our problems was, how can you diagnose AIDS in Africa in the absence of very sophisticated laboratory support?
Even though by 1985 there was a HIV test, most of Africa didn't have access to it. So one of the things that we did in that meeting was to sit down and hash out the so-called Bangui criteria for the diagnosis of AIDS in Africa. The idea was, what would be a simple way for a clinician to look at a patient and say that this patient likely has AIDS?
So what they're saying here is these numbers that they're getting for diagnosing, oh, you've got HIV and AIDS, is literally this thing called the Bangui criteria, where they're like, you can see this is it right now. They're like investigating someone, checking them out and whatever, and saying, yeah, you've got it. So they chalk that up to HIV AIDS. There's no test in Africa.
Yeah, they
like
don't.
You can get tested, but they don't have the money or the resources to test all these 10 million friggin' people, right? So he's saying this is a quick way to go into a village and you find all the sick people and say, okay, she's got it. So that's what this thing is.
When this lady could be quite, she's clearly malnutrition.
Exactly, right?
Yeah, had no food.
We say somebody who has a combination of certain signs and symptoms like major weight loss. And if you have a combination of that, you can say this is probably somebody with AIDS.
They wanted a clinical case definition where they could decide that someone had AIDS just by looking at weight loss and persistent fever and so on.
It gave
Persistent
something
fever,
to
okay.
clinicians in Africa
That's a good one.
to diagnose AIDS.
And that helped in the overall effort to count cases because we needed to know what was the impact of the epidemic.
They could discover AIDS all over Africa at that point. They could say that we are all at risk, but they could say it's spreading around the world. They could say it affects women as much as men because almost anyone in an African hospital could be diagnosed with AIDS without having to do the HIV test at all.
Whole nations have been led to believe that, in some instances, that they've got large percentages of their population infected and doomed because of this supposed sexually transmitted virus. It's such a tragedy.
Daniel, a lot of people here is very sick and is very dying.
What kind of sickness do you see around here?
It's HIV/AIDS.
What is AIDS?
We don't know. We don't know.
So here you live in the mud huts, and here some kind of white men with doctors who you respect, and they tell you that there is now among you an invisible disease, and it gets into your blood and can stay there unseen for years. And when it manifests itself, it's going to manifest itself in the forms of diseases you've always known.
Maybe if you look skinny, if you lost weight, maybe they'll simply say, hey, you have
That's
AIDS,
probably the best
or you cough a
definition
lot,
from
maybe.
that dude.
They'll say you have
Yeah.
a disease.
This cannot help but create extraordinary paranoia in people's minds. They say, well, what is going on with us? My neighbor next door he's got malaria. Does that mean that he's actually got this dreadful disease that the whites are talking about?
Like I could be fat now, then the mentality is that if ever I become teen, then it could be one of the symptoms. I have to ask myself, why now? Why at this time?
Dr. Christian Fiala argues that many doctors have misused the Bangui definition.
In the era before AIDS, we had to admit we don't know the diagnosis and we could hypothesize. But nowadays, what doctors do is, well, if we don't know what it is, it must be AIDS.
We did have patients with the conditions we now regard as AIDS defining, even before the advent of AIDS.
People could have TB and not have HIV and fulfill the Bangui criteria. They'd lose weight, they'd have TB, and they could look like they have AIDS when they don't.
Is this Bangui definition still being used today?
I'm fairly certain that in many parts of Africa where there's still little or no testing available, that definition is still used, and I wouldn't be surprised that it's used in the poorer parts of Asia.
Yeah,
This
like,
word AIDS,
my wife talked
I
about
don't
it.
know what
Oh,
it
yeah?
is anymore. I don't know what we're talking about anymore when we talk about AIDS. AIDS is one thing in Greenwich Village and a very different thing in Kampala, Uganda.
I visited the World Health Organization's website searching for answers and discovered there are currently
Look at the
more
back
than
of his
12
computer.
different definitions of AIDS worldwide. So I turned
Blurred
to
out.
Dr. James Chin,
But I
former
can
head
still
of the
see that fucking
WHO's
that
Global
symbol.
HIV Statistics Unit, for an explanation.
Some countries, they felt they were a
Chief
little more
of
sophisticated
fucking
than in others.
World Health
And,
statistics here.
You have, along with the epidemic of HIV, epidemics of HIV/AIDS experts. And some of them will not necessarily adhere to any international definition. They'll make up their own definition.
High school biology class taught me that diseases and syndromes cannot differ from country to country like languages. It was becoming clear that HIV and AIDS were distinct, separate entities, and that AIDS was diverting my attention from the real culprit, HIV. Where to next? The place millions have had their lives changed forever.
She says, we have your test result, you need to come in and get it. And I was like, tell me now, Cheryl. She was like, Kim, we really need you to come in and tell me. I said, then I know it's positive, Cheryl, or you would just tell me over the phone. And she's like, Kim, don't panic. You can still have a normal life.
I can still remember his face. I can remember his eyes. And all he said was, I'm so sorry. I think you should put your affairs in order, and you might have 5 years.
I said, Cheryl, I have to get off the phone right now. I have to go tell my dad. He started crying. This isn't the way it happens in the movies.
Okay, so how did you get it though?
It's 7
Because
a.m.
that's our
here in
question.
Transfusion, I
Johannesburg,
think.
South Africa,
They talk about it later,
and
but I
I'm
think
a
she got it
little
from a blood
nervous
transfusion.
because
But
I'm about to go in for my first HIV test.
Have you ever gone in for an HIV test?
No.
No. No.
No.
Yes, I have actually, a few years ago.
Were you nervous, apprehensive?
I was very frightened.
I did.
yeah, me too.
The
And I was
nearest
scared,
testing center
fucking
wasn't in a
just waiting for
hospital or in a
that
doctor's
fucking answer,
office,
man.
but on the main
Crazy.
Concord train station, beneath a few portable tents. HIV testing facilities are everywhere, from street corner kiosks to shopping malls. I'll be tested with a rapid test, which looks for antibodies to HIV.
Have you ever tested for HIV before?
No.
Except no.
Never.
It's the first time.
First time. Is this your questionnaire?
Yes.
Okay.
These tests claim to be HIV tests. I'm going to read from a section that says limitations of the test. The specificity of the Reveal Rapid HIV Antibody Test for blood specimens in low-risk populations has not been evaluated. They don't know, in their terms even, how well this test is going to work in people they don't want it to work in. Low risk. We don't think you're at risk.
Tell me about the
See,
My sex life.
they even tell it in the fucking the pamphlet.
Yeah,
like the insert.
Or like,
See, listen to this. This girl, she's asking all these questions.
In 1990, we flew to
You want
Romania
to pause
to
it?
adopt a
Do
baby.
you want to say something?
yeah, when you give blood, they ask you the same questions.
Mm-hmm.
Like, have you given blood or do you give blood?
I have before, yeah.
Yeah, you remember the questions?
Like, are you a drug user?
Are you a needle drug user? Have you had homosexual sex in between these times? Have you been
No.
to Africa between these years?
Really? No, I don't remember any of that.
Oh, you don't remember? Like,
No,
I
it's been a
remember it
while.
quite clearly.
It's been a while.
Yeah. It was it was like a good 5 questions where they could have just leaned in and said, "Hey, you got AIDS? You want to tell me right now?" You know?
Yeah.
So that's what led me to believe that it's serious too, because like even when you give blood, like we want it to be clean.
My mom got 14 blood transfusions. Anywhere, I can't remember exact number. It was anywhere from 11 to 14 blood transfusions.
Wow.
When she was birthing me.
Oh.
She had like extreme complications. Like she died on the table while they were like delivering.
Whoa.
And she had an out of body experience.
Whoa.
And anyways, it was 1983. So you can imagine the blood that she was getting infused with. They had not screened at all. And so she got letters about that in like the early 90s. Like, we think you might have been exposed to HIV blood during your, this time period. So she had to go in for this like deep testing or whatever to see if she had got it. And then, then it would have been passed on to me. Right.
Yeah.
And I wonder how they would have explained that. Geez, like, oh, geez, I can't believe you made it this long.
So whatever they were doing, they believed in what they were testing.
Mm-hmm.
Like they were trying hard to find something.
So this is a horrible story of this family.
We found Lindsay, and she was only 2 weeks old.
They adopted a baby and
I can still remember that feeling,
Ukraine or
just holding
something.
Lindsay for the first time, thinking, now my dream is going to come true. I'll have one of those children. Before we left Romania, we had to make sure that she didn't have HIV. We had to find a doctor, and he did the test, and it came back negative. We flew home just after Christmas, 1990.
Negative.
And thought we had it made.
So I'm going to do a test.
Spoiler alert. But I mean, they got them tested, right? You're showing these tests. Like, how fucking reliable are they? Test it, negative. You know, they're going to test them here and they're going to say positive, right?
Outcome. Then this
Gee.
one is a determiner, which is going to give us the final results.
Can I just ask you something as someone who's a little nervous?
Okay.
It seems like if this is positive and this is negative, my life hangs in the balance on whatever this one is.
Yes.
But how do we know that this one's accurate when both of these were inaccurate?
This one has been tested to be the one that is going to take out the results that are correct.
Oh, so this one is more accurate than these two?
Yes, according to what we have learned.
So why don't we just use the more accurate one to begin with?
Well, you know what? What if now the more accurate one has a discrepancy? How are you going to find out?
I don't know.
Rapid tests in Germany, it's not allowed for standard diagnostics.
May I ask why? How come you don't use rapid tests for standard diagnostics?
Several professional organizations who decide as an expert committee on guidelines how to do things. None of these responsible societies recommend it for scientific reasons.
We always say to our clients, even if
So they're doing all this for
you
nothing.
can go to other centers and go and test and verify our test. You cannot say we're 100% because you find clients going from area to area doing tests. And they come with stories that I was negative at a certain area, I'm positive with you.
How do they decide whether they're positive or negative?
We cannot tell because we are using a rapid test.
It occurred to me that perhaps the HIV epidemic is reported to be so widespread in South Africa
it's like
and other poor nations
basically
simply because
the
they
exact
use
same thing as
inaccurate
COVID, where
tests.
you know,
yeah,
like these rapid
There's
fucking
the saying
tests.
that if you knew how what sausages are made of, most people would hesitate to sort of eat them because they wouldn't like what's in it. And if you knew how HIV/AIDS numbers are cooked or made up, you would use them with extreme caution.
He's
I
like the
decided
world
to
head
investigate HIV
statistics
testing
guy.
protocols
Yeah.
used throughout the developed world.
When we're testing people for HIV, the first thing we do is a screening test, and it's usually a test called the ELISA.
But there are also now available rapid assays that can be used as screening methods.
Because they're faster. And we all know faster and cheaper is more efficient.
If an ELISA is positive, it does not mean that the patient is HIV positive. That's a problem.
If we're using antibodies as a screening test to tell who's infected or not, very occasionally you can get false positives.
So screening tests by themselves
Using
should not
antibodies.
be used as a
Yeah.
definitive measure of infection. That's why we use a screening test to pick up all the cases, but we use a confirmatory test to eliminate any false positives.
That makes sense.
I'll just get aside.
It should be emphasized that most of the developing world uses only screening tests to confirm an HIV diagnosis. There are no confirmatory tests.
Time now is 25 past. At 22, the results will be out, which is going to be 15 minutes.
9 days after returning home, Steve and Cheryl's pediatrician ran a battery of tests on Lindsay, including an HIV test, even though Lindsay had tested negative for the virus in Romania.
Dr. McHugh called us and said, we run into some problems with the testing that you did at Methodist Hospital, and you'll need to come right in and see me.
I said, well, what is it? She says, well, I'm not going to tell you over the phone. I said, I need to know exactly what this is. He said, you know, we got bad news that she tests positive.
And he said, she'll have a 20% chance of living to age 2. That was just a shock. Just a shock after all this joy and happiness. We finally found our daughter, and I'm dancing around Romania, and now I come home, and it's like somebody could just stab me. And then I had to call my mom, and that was the worst phone call I've ever had to make, because I even remember saying, that poor girl, she's just not gonna make it.
Did they get their money back?
So that we don't have to
For what?
go to somebody and say, well, you might
Infective?
be infected, but it might be
The
a
baby?
false positive.
I don't think they
We do a
pay for them.
second
I think they're
test.
free.
That's a test usually
Oh, you
called
pay
the
for 'em.
Western blot.
I think you pay the
In
company that's
1992,
hooking
when
you
I
up.
was
I don't
told
think
by
you
my doctor
actually.
that I was HIV positive, that was only a verbal admission to me. She didn't give me the written paper that came from the lab that tested my blood. I found out that it says this indicates possible infection by virus.
There can be mistakes from the antibody test, and there are conditions that can cause the test to be inaccurate.
Now that I've got the package insert for that test kit, it says positive results using any specimen type should be followed with additional testing. But this is the test that they use to confirm with.
This has a margin of error done properly that's extremely low. In other words, it's one of medicine's better tests.
I don't think the Western blot is a useful diagnostic test. I don't think it's worth doing.
Did he give a reason? You know, anybody can say anything. I think it's stupid to drive a car. But come on, you gotta give a reason.
It's a useful prognostic test. Once you know that someone is infected, then you can follow their antibody response as well with Western blots.
I'd say he's absolutely wrong. It has a complete usefulness.
You don't need a Western blot. And it's become a dogma in HIV research that you need one ELISA followed by a Western. You don't. You need two different kinds of ELISAs made in two different formats.
Would you ever want to confirm somebody is positive using just ELISAs?
No, never. It's not, it's against the rules, it's against the recommendations.
It's a turbulent sea of argument about how can we use this test? When can we use this test? Why does this test have no standard?
We have a group now of about 40 patients that have no detectable virus in their body, but they're not being treated. So the first question is, are they really infected?
So the Western blots can have false positives?
No, the Western blot was negative too. But they were told they were positive by a lab, yes, that misread the Western blot.
Oh.
Heavyweight champion Tommy Morrison tested positive in 1996. 11 years later, in 2007, he tested negative multiple times, allowing him to return to the ring.
There's constant discussion.
Allowing
in the
him to work
community of
again.
people who do
Yeah,
diagnostic
because they wouldn't let him, right? It was
testing
one touch.
and
Yeah, you
bankers
cross blood
about
with
how
someone
to
in the
read
ring.
these tests.
When you're looking at this Western blot, how do you determine what is a positive?
You need a certain number of bands being present. It depends a little bit on the producer of the test.
It depends on the manufacturer. Is
Yeah.
there different criteria for what might be a positive?
Yeah, there are different criteria from the manufacturer. Thank you for the word. And also there are guidelines from the WHO and UNAIDS.
Well, HIV infection is diagnosed with rather now routine laboratory tests, which for which there are criteria for diagnosis established by the manufacturer, FDA.
He's having a hard time answering the question.
Yep.
The director of
Claudia
the
showed me the package
CDC.
insert that comes with the Western blot. It contains 8 different sets of criteria for diagnosing HIV infection.
Because of the different criteria that apply in different countries, you can be considered, you can test HIV positive in one country and be given an AIDS diagnosis as a result of that, whereas in another country you won't test HIV positive and you won't be given an AIDS diagnosis.
It's ludicrous that you can be positive in one country and not positive in another.
Theoretically, I could be diagnosed with AIDS in the United States, but if I take 3 steps to my right, I wouldn't be diagnosed with AIDS, or I would lose my AIDS diagnosis when I cross the border.
Okay, so now
In
this is getting kind of
1992,
scary.
I was encouraged by a doctor to take what's called an HIV test as a matter of social responsibility, and I was shocked and devastated and horrified.
So
when
is this a
the results
Canadian
came
woman?
back
Yep.
Positive.
I believe so.
It was one of those
Oh, maybe
moments
not.
that everyone
They didn't say.
fears their whole life. A week later, I take the same test to an AIDS specialist. He looks and says, "This isn't a positive test. I don't know what this test means."
Since a false positive looks like a true positive, how can you ever distinguish whether it's truly a positive or a negative?
Well, that's a great question.
It's going to be very hard to determine a false positive.
So I take the test again, and this time my results come back marked from the lab indeterminate. I'm faced with the decision, do I want to wait 6 weeks to test again or do it right away? I opted for right away. My results that time come back positive. Took it again, came back negative. I took it again, positive.
What happens if you're positive on one criteria but negative on another manufacturer's criteria? How do you decide who's infected and who's not?
You will use the most sensitive criterion.
In late December of 2007, I read about new legislation.
These are the smartest
passed in
people
New
we
Jersey
have.
calling
Yep.
for the mandatory testing of pregnant women or newborn infants, should the mother's status be unknown.
HIV mandatory testing, to me, is a no-brainer.
I'm very much opposed to the concept of mandatory testing of any population because the tests are scientifically shown to be unreliable and inaccurate.
You have no reason to fear this bill. And my hope is that eventually this will become a federal law so that every woman in this country would be tested.
Wow.
But HIV testing isn't an absolute
Every woman.
precise science.
Yeah.
When I confronted my doctor about that, she said, we're way past Western blot now. We have the viral load test. But when you get the package insert for the viral load test, it says,
If you test positive, you are considered confirmed infected with HIV. But at the bottom of the page, in fine print, it states a person should have additional testing.
It does not allow
Confirmed
you
with
to
a
tell
Western
a
blot.
single
That's what it said.
person on this
Yeah.
planet that they are HIV positive. And it's a scandal that this test continues to be used.
so again, I'm asking, where's the test? Where's the test that can confirm a diagnosis of HIV infection? And I can't find one.
I have the package insert from the manufacturer which they supplied me with. And under limitations of the test, it states that risk factors should be used in conjunction with the test. Has a person had sex? Have they used drugs? Have they had a blood transfusion? And then in conjunction with the test, not the test alone, but with the test, then you decide whether the person is positive or negative. Do the answers to these questions help aid in the diagnosis?
Of course they did.
Really?
He's like, did we get that on camera?
The test he took was lousy and didn't mean a thing. Does that make any difference for everybody to hear?
It make a difference for me.
Yeah, I know.
How can we say that HIV is the cause of AIDS when we don't know, based on current tests, whether or not anybody diagnosed positive actually has HIV?
Yeah.
President Thabo Mbeki will officially open the AIDS conference tonight.
People are catching or dying from something. You know?
Right.
But there's something up.
Well, yeah, but we're looking at what these things can be, right?
A comprehensive response.
The people that are dying, the people that aren't dying, or people that seem to be getting it by misdiagnosis. Those people aren't dying.
The whole story told about our own country. It seemed to me that we could not blame everything on a single virus.
I thought this man must be an idiot. Everyone in Africa is dying of AIDS. I know this because I read the New York Times. It's beyond doubt.
Rion Milan was hired by Rolling Stone to investigate and debunk President Mbeki's misguided ideas. Where to begin? The numbers.
My very first action, I opened Johannesburg's Yellow Pages. I thought that I could illustrate this with a scene that began in a coffin factory in Johannesburg, where workers are working overtime trying to create caskets for these mountains of people who are dying of this condition. And I discover that in the midst of what UNAIDS says is a plague, is that half of the coffin factories in Johannesburg have gone bankrupt.
In South Africa alone, it's about 1,000 people dying every day from AIDS.
If you're an advocacy agency and you perceive low numbers to be bad, your bias may be to accept higher numbers even if they're not scientifically sound.
I know Jim Chin quite well, and I was the chairman of the steering committee on epidemiology of the global program on AIDS
WHO when Jim Chin was in charge of epidemiologic estimates. And we could never get information how the WHO estimates were made then. So we were very critical in these days because we felt it was not based on enough evidence.
It's possible
He's
that,
showing these people videos of these other guys talking shit about them so that they can spit out the truth.
Send information to anybody that wanted to know about the estimates because they were pretty transparent.
In an attempt to get to the bottom of the statistics debate, I've come to Geneva, Switzerland to look at the World Health Organization's official numbers. And what we found, there are no numbers, only assumptions and estimates.
How are the monies divvied out to states for AIDS prevention or AIDS treatment? How is government monies sent out to different states and communities?
The more AIDS you have, the more money you get.
Exactly.
The AIDS partners have a vested interest in maximizing and squeezing the data to get the worst possible scenario that they can out of it, because the worse the situation is, the more compelling the fundraising claims are. When UNAIDS was created, about $250 million was spent on AIDS in poor countries. 10 years later, it's $10 billion. That's an unprecedented increase.
I bet you it's 20 now,
When
at least.
that
Yeah.
was created, the first thing Peter Piot said, was that UNAIDS is an advocacy agency, pure and simple.
And this was my first objective when I came into this job, and that was put it on the political agenda.
He divested himself of all of the program aspects and the scientific aspects of AIDS.
This is not a scientific issue. This is a matter of politics.
Except one unit. He kept sort of the numbers unit.
We are really doing a major disservice to say it is not as bad as it looks like.
So
Because
this guy
actually
has the
it is
job that
much
other
worse.
dude had.
Yeah.
1 month after my interview with Dr. Piot, the Indian government slashed their estimates by nearly 60%. Shortly thereafter, UNAIDS acknowledged they'd been overestimating global HIV statistics for more than a decade.
They've painted themselves into a corner, and now their house of numbers is falling apart.
America is leading the fight against disease. And I call on you to double our initial commitment to fighting HIV/AIDS by approving an additional $30 billion over the next 5 years.
Oh, that Nancy Pelosi back there? Yeah.
Global
Cheney.
corruption, misuse of statistics.
Probably writing
in order
down
to convince people that there's one hell of a problem.
invest in AIDS stocks.
Exactly.
If you look at the real world, you know,
So
how many
you
people
discovered HIV.
are infected, diagnosed to be infected, and eligible for treatment. There are very few compared to the number.
In April of 2008, Congress approved a $50 billion expenditure for AIDS treatment and prevention.
The vast majority of the world's population is not at any measurable risk of HIV infection.
No measurable risk. Growing up in the age of AIDS, I was taught there were 3 certainties in life: death, taxes, and contracting HIV from unprotected sex.
If you don't use a condom, there's a lot of chances that you can actually get the killer disease that is AIDS.
I did a study of the heterosexual transmission of HIV in California, and we recruited individuals who were infected with HIV. Then we recruited their sexual partners, and we looked at whether transmission, in fact, had occurred.
Padian runs a study, it's a 10-year study, with the world's most virulent, terrifying sexually I mean, this thing jumps, excuse me, off of penises into vaginas miles away. How many of them do you think, after 10 years, with the world's most terrifying, virulent, sexually transmitted disease, came up positive? Nobody. Nobody. Nobody who was negative came up positive. 0.
I think HIV is more difficult to transmit than than a lot of, probably most other sexually transmitted diseases. I mean, I think that's pretty widely known.
If I were to have unprotected sex
It's
with
not
somebody who
widely
was
known.
HIV positive, how many acts would I have to engage in before I got the virus?
Just one.
Everyone
would
knows.
be enough.
First act.
One is enough.
Remarkably, HIV is a difficult infection to transmit.
Director of CDC.
This contradicts everything I was ever taught about the sexual transmission of HIV.
AIDS is the best example of what's really scary and alarming and dangerous about our culture right now, which is that it's a culture of PR. It's a public relations
She'll write that
phenomenon.
chick's name down because I'd like
The
to see what she's
truth
investigating
doesn't
now.
matter. What
Ferber.
matters is
Ferber.
the image.
Jessica Ferber.
That's pretty easy to
If
remember.
we were talking about reality, the reality is that AIDS is over.
Somebody decided in the early 80s that there's this infection called HIV. And upon deciding that, I don't think it was debated enough.
In 1983,
That's No, we-
Dr.
we
Luc
don't
Montagnier
debate.
and his
That's my
team of
birthday.
researchers identified what they thought might be the cause of AIDS.
I'm literally an AIDS baby.
I really was excited because we knew it was a new type of virus, not shown before in men, and very likely to be the cause of AIDS. Of course, at that time we didn't have the full proof of what's the cause of AIDS.
That initial work was rapidly reinforced by additional virology and serology studies in Bob Gallo's lab in Washington.
Gallo got pushed by the Reagan administration that wanted to do something on AIDS finally. They literally told us to just close CDC's lab down. We don't care about it. There's a bunch of gays, who gives a shit? And that was really their whole story. So the whole thing that they rested their political response was, well, we discovered the virus.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. The probable cause of AIDS has been found. Credit must go
The monkey.
to our
Yeah.
eminent Dr. Robert Gallo, who directed the research that produced this discovery.
What was new that day is for the first time we were saying, that's the cause, I'm sure.
It was a silly press conference. There was not evidence then that HIV was the cause of AIDS. It wasn't called HIV. There was certainly evidence that he didn't discover it. It was discovered in France.
That was discovered in
conference was
Africa.
held before any of
No, that was the origin
Gallo's
that they
papers
claimed. Obviously, we've seen
Therefore,
like it
before
popped
any
up in the gay
other scientist
population
had a chance
first,
to review
and then
them and, look
you
at the
know,
evidence
and then
and
they
see
were
if he
pinning it on
got it
Africa
right or
after.
wrong.
Gallo's philosophy was to have people to whom he would give the virus be in his own control, so that any information that came out of that would come through him, so that he got all the information. Indeed, often put his name on publications and would, quote, collaborate with them. But should you have any broader view other than his personal glory and your personal glory, this was not a scientific pursuit in any way.
The U.S. Department of Health and Human Services decided from now on, we are only going to fund AIDS research that assumes that Robert Gallo's virus is the cause.
I didn't think that HIV in 1984 was the cause of AIDS. That's why I did the study comparing gay men with Kaposi's and gay men with pneumocystis. I assume there must be something else. If you go read my paper from 1985 that Kern and Jaffe would not sign on to, I actually lay out the cofactor hypothesis in that paper.
The cofactors.
I'm a promoter of the role of cofactors in AIDS.
Well, cofactors just says that the cause of a disease is by more than one factor.
Just simply being infected with HIV is not going to do it. You need certain cofactors.
See,
Cofactors are not necessary.
Dr. Fauci will say HIV causes AIDS without the need for anything else. That's kind of ridiculous.
The data that indicate that any different type of infection like mycoplasma or something like that is a necessary cofactor. I believe those theories have been debunked.
What the fuck does he mean? Sorry. What's it? Sorry, what does he mean that there are no cofactors? Where's he coming from? There's cofactors for everything.
Cofactor implies something specific. And it really gets us off into tracks that are wandering.
He's going to be with
Gallo,
Fauci for sure.
Isn't going to change his mind. But he's probably 70 years plus now. He's going to remember things. Yeah, we all remember things that are good for us, and we forget the bad things. The cofactors are important to really understand how people get ill, why they get ill.
What is asked of an AIDS journalist is to deny an existing reality, which is a strong, growing body of dissent on a scientific question.
In August of '92, my dad had just read his latest National Review, and there was an article in there about Peter Duesberg, a maverick cell biologist. He said he didn't think HIV caused AIDS.
To deny that this well-identified, well-characterized virus is linked with AIDS is, to my mind, just potty.
He said, I can't replicate this in my office. I can't get this virus to do anything. We thought, oh my gosh, my dad is really daydreaming. He's trying to wish this all away because he knows how upset we are. Just wish it all away, and everybody will be gone happy.
Man, I love her accent.
If Fauci would say, here's $1 billion for alternative theories of AIDS, you wouldn't believe what's going to happen. A lot of HIV researchers overnight would start cofactors. The first year they would call them cofactors of HIV. And the next year,
The first time I ever saw that
HIV would be
Joe Rogan was interviewing this guy.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Peter is highly intelligent. He did excellent work. I mean, no wonder he got a full professorship in Berkeley and was nominated to the American Academy of Sciences. But I told him very frankly that he's killing people with his theories, and I still stick with that.
They attack him, they attack his ideas, and they present some bogus way of refuting what his science has said that doesn't really refute it.
Peter Duesberg? Yes. They are all prostitutes, most of them, my colleagues, to some degree, myself. You have to be a prostitute to get money for your research. You're
Right?
trained a little bit to be a prostitute.
You're trained.
But some go all the way.
In light of all this scientific uncertainty,
Oh, there's
I
Fauci
asked
and
Dr. Fauci
Clinton.
for evidence linking HIV to immune deficiency disease.
When you put the combined
What the last guy said, I think, is 90% of the problem we have on this planet. You got to be a prostitute.
Yeah.
So that
findings of the initial characterization as a distinct
What's did he say?
retrovirus
Like fucking,
isolated by Montagnier and his
I'm a
group together
motherfucking
with Gallows
TMP.
linking the virus to being the cause of AIDS, and they put those things together, and that's how we have a confirmation of the causative agent of AIDS, namely HIV.
Still unclear about the evidence for HIV's existence, I decided the best way to verify it would be to actually see it. I asked Dr. Hans Gelderblum, a world-renowned electron microscopist, if he thought there was any reason to question Dr. Montagnier's published images.
I've seen these publications, stamp-sized images. It's a nuisance. It's a nuisance. You do not really see much.
When we saw that photo, we said, suggestive, but not convincing.
Dr. Gallo, 1 year later, published photographs he claimed to be of HIV. Were his any better?
These pictures were not so impressive. They were not much better than Montagnier's images.
It's one thing to look like, and another thing is to be a virus.
In 2002, I stumbled across an article by Valander Turner and Andrew McIntyre of the Perth Group in Australia, and it questions whether there's ever even been found a virus. I became consumed with researching this. I could read from morning till night every day, and every link to another link, and I would email to these people and say, where's the test? I want to know. Am I dying? Am I contagious? And they weren't even very kind. They were just like, read our articles again. How many times do we have to tell you there's no test?
It is crucial to understand that an AIDS diagnosis is forever. It cannot be reversed or alleviated.
The stigma attached to people knowing that you have it and are living with it is worse than actually living with it.
I can't think of anybody who's ever been evicted from their apartment because they had breast cancer or because they had cerebral palsy.
I
Who
did a
the
campaign
fuck is that guy?
to address stigma.
He's a famous
The
comic,
message
TV
is
writer,
that if anyone is infected,
and like
we are all
comedian.
infected.
Okay.
Some have
Yeah.
it medically, some have it socially, some have it culturally. And at the end of the day, if it exists anywhere, it exists everywhere.
We don't all have AIDS. And once you start bullshitting, it's a problem. You know, we don't all have AIDS. We all have to be sympathetic to AIDS. And yes, there's all kinds of people who get HIV infection. But, you know, we don't need to make, in my view, non-truths, you know, or just to have a slogan or a symbol.
He's
We
showing
all
him the
have
video.
AIDS. We don't all have AIDS.
But my message is you do have it, whether you want to accept it or not. Are you medically susceptible? Maybe not. But are you socially vulnerable? Yes.
In June of 2007, the
Yeah, I don't
BBC
even know what that
featured a
means.
news story which began HIV infection theory challenged.
Living cells are complicated, and how they work inside the body is even more complicated. So there's still a lot of debate as to how exactly HIV causes AIDS.
In March of 2008, the Washington Post went on to state that multiple surprises have reminded researchers how much they still don't know about HIV's biology.
HIV has got to get inside the circulation of the body, and it does that in ways that are not completely understood.
The prime target for HIV is a T cell population called CD4 helper T cells.
The way that the virus gets into the target cell, it fuses its membrane to the membrane of the cell.
I don't understand the fusion process. I don't think anybody completely understands it.
We have a relatively poor understanding of how viral proteins interact with proteins in the
It
cell.
fuses with the T cells.
How
Right.
come our antibodies aren't able
Which
to
are
keep
antibody
HIV in
cells.
check?
That's T
It's
cells.
an excellent question. That's one of the great stumbling blocks.
They can't prove that HIV is the cause of AIDS, okay? They cannot prove that HIV is the cause of the collapse of the immune system, no matter how many scientific journals says it is. When you go to the basic research, it doesn't prove it.
We are almost convinced that there is other factors that are involved in the loss of CD4 cells, and we don't know yet all the mechanism.
How HIV depletes the T cells so an individual advances to AIDS is probably due to multifactorial elements.
Probably.
One is it will kill the cell eventually that it infects. HIV does not necessarily kill the cells it infects. Some T cells are directly killed by HIV, and other T cells keep the virus in check. It's a silent state within the cell, and I think in many cases these cells can return to a normal function.
Can that cell return to a normal state? I don't think so.
When I was told I was HIV positive, I accepted that on a very deep level. But only by having the courage, the open minds, and the open hearts to answer these questions are we ever going to know how to help people.
Maybe.
How to do what we need to do to help people.
In late 2007, Science Daily reported that 3 prominent research teams had published papers in the Journal of Immunology challenging the theory that the sudden loss of T cells triggers disease and AIDS.
The details of HIV pathogenesis, how HIV kills people, are still being worked out.
If the sudden loss of T cells in HIV-positive individuals can't explain why people get disease, then there must be cofactors that cause people to get sick and die, or factors that have absolutely nothing to do with HIV. While researching HIV hotspots, I began to realize there is a direct correlation in these places with another condition that leads to immune deficiency and death.
Third world.
I think it is important to keep in mind, especially for us in the West, that poverty
is not a romantic issue. It is a deadly issue. Poverty leads to diseases and premature death, period.
When you look at the symptoms that they talk about, for people that are HIV positive, you find that some of them, they are more related to malnutrition.
Their nutrition is not very equilibrated. They are in oxidative stress, even they are not infected with HIV. So their immune system doesn't work well already.
People are hungry.
So it's naturally killing off people in poverty. Right.
No proper medical care. You take away poverty, you're giving people an ability to fight infections.
These are toilets.
Yeah.
We don't have flushing toilets. When flies get into the toilets, they actually come back too.
So I'm laughing at that because
Cambodia.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is where I saw a massive tarantula.
Oh my God. In a toilet?
It crawled into the hole. Like I saw the arms and it goes into like the.
Oh my God.
And it was like one of those, but the toilet hole.
Oh my God.
Just goes outside.
Right.
Like it's just like a straight hole.
Oh my God. So you imagine if you sat down on that?
Oh, I wouldn't.
No, but they're there.
Yeah,
people use them when they're in a pinch.
Even just, I was hoping the stream would like scare it away.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
So other people must have been using it though. Like, oh my God.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So
yeah.
that's a thing. Like, make sure you check the toilet for tarantulas first. Like, oh my God.
Yeah.
And look, we need to take that food.
So
And
flies
no
go in
worms
that,
and
and then they
infections
come and fucking land on their food.
Yeah.
How do you expect people much
Zero garbage collection.
Right.
I'll tell you, they're straight up burning their garbage.
In Cape Town is different.
For sure.
Oh yeah,
Go to
for
suburbs,
sure.
you see
Yeah,
the
for
suburbs
fuel,
different from our places.
heating, all kinds of stuff.
Just to get rid of it.
Look, there's the white
Why have we
neighborhood.
done
There's
nothing for African people, just like give them clean water so they don't die in infancy of diarrheal disease and stuff like this. All we care about is HIV, AIDS. Well, question. Well, there's money in it. There has to be, other.
Yeah, they're giving all that money, and all they're doing is fucking giving them tests and bullshit, when they could be giving them fresh water and right.
Sanitation, malaria. I mean, things that kill people.
This is the beginning of a war. It is a war to reclaim our health.
In 2008, USA Today published a news story that stated, if we look at the data objectively, we are spending too much on AIDS. About $10 billion a year is spent on AIDS, while 2 billion people live with no sanitation. 1 billion lack access to clean water. And malnutrition kills someone every 10 seconds. These factors enable diseases to thrive and severely weaken the immune system of those.
I walked through a place like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If we were to take all that money and put it towards developing poor countries, God would be so proud of us, indeed, because we would have taken away the major challenge that's facing humankind, and that is people dying in silence. It's slow, painful deaths from being scared of something that was just packaged as AIDS.
Could it be that the real epidemic is extreme poverty, not HIV? On the other hand, HIV allegedly occurs in the United States as well. So I looked for alternative causes of immunodeficiency in this wealthiest of nations.
There are other ways you could produce a condition that looks like AIDS, but they too will be some source that causes a severe defect in the immune response.
So like heroin
19
use.
million Americans now, 19 million are taking illicit drugs every day. But we don't talk about this. This is politically incorrect.
There have been a number of theories as to what the origin of HIV/AIDS is. One of them was a theory that certainly turned out to be completely incorrect, that it's a lifestyle phenomenon.
There's a large epidemic of STDs in general in the late 70s, and particularly in gay men in San Francisco, New York, Los Angeles were meccas of the new lifestyle, which came from the liberation in the post-Stonewall era.
The more partners you could have, the more you were striking a blow for gay lib.
I remember talking to one of the people who was at the forefront of that lifestyle. It very much felt like if he did have another bout of syphilis or gonorrhea, whatever it might be, that it was like a notch, a victory notched up for his right to exist as a gay man.
I went on a vacation to Los Angeles, and it wasn't that wild, but one night I went to a bathhouse. I came home with, get this, at the same time, syphilis, gonorrhea, and 2 forms of parasites.
I have no views about that, in a judgmental kind
Or
of
like-
sense, but
like a
certainly
gay
from
tryst.
a public health point of view, that's kind of a prescription.
But that's a group of people.
Yeah.
Right? Or like
well, it's just promiscuity, right? I mean, you can easily get the same diseases if you were in a house with like, a bunch of chicks that were just fucking too, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. It's just the fact that somebody has something and it's being spread because everyone's being promiscuous.
Yeah,
right?
it's like every day is spring break and you don't know of any consequence. Like, because at that time the consequence was these STDs where, I just, be careful.
Yeah.
And then, or I can just let them pass and I can live with this illness. We have the medicine for it nowadays. So it was all like cool to them. Having said that, the morning show I listen to does, he himself is homosexual, so he will laugh at some gay porn. And there was one that he debuted where there was a guy had a counter of how much how many loads he's carrying around inside him. Oh my god, that was a movie.
It's got a little.
Yeah, and it was on the bottom of the screen, and he's like going here, going there, getting just railed by dudes.
Oh my god,
door to door to door to door.
Wow.
And here's the counter of carrying around 26 inside of me,
Oh my
sloshing.
god. Oh my god.
So if they create some kind of an illness and then, okay, but that's not all of them. It's a spectrum, right?
For disaster, because AIDS first occurred in these men who were not healthy for reasons that were obvious to everyone.
You're talking thousands of partners, sometimes hundreds, per month.
Wow.
Lots of antibiotic use, lots of drug use, and
They're already taking antibiotics for
result
just
were people
syphilis and
getting
shit that they're catching, right?
There's a
Because they're
drug
having
called
100
amyloid.
partners a month, he
It
said.
was developed in the 1850s and 60s. Came in ampules, and they became known as poppers because you'd pop them when you open these ampules up to sniff them when you had coronary artery disease. The first AIDS cases, for example, that Mike Gottlieb reported were all 5 gay men. They were young. They all used poppers.
Poppers, something you walk around huffing all night. I mean, it says flammable, fatal if swallowed on the side of the bottle. They're walking around huffing it all night long. Why? Gives you a great rush.
Poppers was a sex drug. They were in every gay bathhouse, every bar, every porno bookstore across the nation. Poppers were visible on the dance floor in the discos. At the end of an evening, the bartender would announce last call for alcohol, last call for poppers.
It was like a mad, wonderful kind of a dance that was being done. But if you think that can happen forever, you're wrong.
whether or not HIV exists, whether its role in a weakened immune system is almost irrelevant when you compare it to what was going on at that time.
The lifestyle explanation proved politically unacceptable, but the virus explanation proved very, very acceptable to many different parties.
So basically,
Pneumocyst
basically just saying that, like, the gay community didn't want to hear that their fucking poor choices were possibly contributing to what was going on with them.
Yeah.
They wanted to hear, like, no, it's a virus. Tell us what this virus is. At least the activists who were pushing it, they kind of, get to that. But like the guys who were like the head of the gay scene or whatever were the ones that were really pushing it. Like they're letting us die out here. They won't tell us and pay money to do the research.
Meanwhile, they're taking antibiotics. According to this person,
yeah,
it was popular to take antibiotics to prepare for some kind of STD to happen,
or be taking them because you're recovering from one. Right.
Yeah.
So you're taking preventatives, you're taking, post, and then, then the actual sickness itself. Right. Like I'm sure syphilis or whatever is doing a number on your immune system already. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you go and you get in the mix, putting a load counter on yourself. And that's how many different STDs mixing with antibiotics.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, like that's
sarcoma were the
that's
hallmark
something.
diseases for AIDS in the early years.
To go back and deconstruct it and say, what exactly did cause pneumocystis carinea?
I remember the first patient that I ever saw, my resident brought me to see a young gay man with pneumocystis pneumonia. I knew a little bit about the use of poppers or amyl nitrite inhalants. And I started asking the patient if he used them, and it turned out that he was a very heavy user of amyl nitrites. And much to the surprise of my students, I said, I think the man probably has destroyed his pulmonary immune system by inhaling this toxin.
What exactly caused Kaposi sarcoma? We know that now. It was amyl nitrite.
So also
We saw
positive too, which
KS.
I never even put together until now. But the main fucking sickness that these people were dying from was like a lung infection.
Yeah.
Right. Because they're huffing things, right? So
Yeah.
it's like, yeah.
Yeah, and it's a nitrate. It's
And the secondary one was the anal one. Basically, there was like an anal disease that they were dying from. I forget what that might be the other one that they mentioned.
Oh yeah, it loosens up your butthole.
Well, no, that's the reason for the poppers.
Yeah,
But no, the other major sickness, they were saying there was two major things they were seeing these gay people dying from. And, they've got the names, right? Kaposi sarcosa or whatever, right? I think that's the lung one. And then there's one that's the getting, anal disease. And that makes sense because they're huffing and then they're having anal sex. And then if they've got no immune system, that's what I was saying before, then you start getting all these infections from like fucking, shit and all that stuff that's going into all the like cuts and stuff that your body is producing and not being able to heal.
Yeah, or like think of this, dude has like old STD ridden jizz on his pillow, and now next guy is breathing in the dust of it. His immune system is shot to hell with the mix of antibiotics, and the lungs are a little worse from all the poppers.
Yeah.
So in that mix, you created a new virus.
Decline, interestingly, parallel to the decline in popper use.
We now know that Kaposi sarcoma is caused by a second virus, the human herpes virus strain 8.
To rescue comes another
Human
virus.
herpes
As
virus
always,
strain
when you-
8. Okay, and I also want to pause to just throw some weight of that is absolutely horrible to the people who just want to like have a normal like house and life,
right?
And just happen to be gay.
Yeah.
Just the same as I just happen to be straight. Now a group of them that just wanted to go wild. And, if you were on their side of the fence, you probably like, yeah, I get it. You were being hunted, killed.
Yeah.
At the turn of a dime, the dredge of society had to hide yourself, and then you're finally free. And you're going to explode in some kind of way. And this is the way that it did. And it created the AIDS virus.
Yeah.
Which is bad. But on the other hand, we're learning that because of human greed, AIDS is really not that big of a deal.
Yeah. Like you have to be a very specific risk group, let's say.
Yeah, due to money, it is a deadly virus, but it's not as prevalent as we thought, and is hard to catch. But once you do catch it, it is something.
When you're in trouble, you find another virus.
If one wants to look at really what causes this, we've got to look beyond just HIV and just beyond HHV/AIDS.
Calling it a disease, see? And to give it that name, AIDS. So everything's included under that, and you don't have to just say, I mean, if you just said, you know, these people are getting a lot of weird diseases, all kinds of diseases, it wouldn't have had the same impact. It was much better to say, there is a infectious organism on the loose in America, and it could get you.
I had interviewed the world's leading HIV experts and discovered that the two benchmark diseases of AIDS have alternate explanations. Once again, I turned to Dr. Gelderblum, seeking proof of HIV's existence in the most recent images available.
Here, you do not see anything about the details, but I would say it's probably a virus.
These are HIV here?
Yeah.
Oh, so are these HIV too?
Yeah, yeah.
Everything's
Probably.
Probably.
Yeah.
What can I tell you? You know, I mean, it exists.
Gallo said he had all these viruses, and it was a lie.
I think HIV totally has turned out not to be the cause of AIDS. HIV has turned out not to be.
Gelderblum's images, said to come from isolated HIV cultures, provided no proof for HIV's existence. So I asked Nobel laureate Dr. David Baltimore and Dr. Robin Weiss how they would isolate and photograph this elusive virus.
Well, didn't Dr. Gallo do that? I mean, he actually isolated it. So, yeah. I mean, why should I do all of this? This is all textbook stuff you're asking me.
I'm not quite sure what's behind your question about isolation.
I don't want to be your textbook. You know? I got other things to do.
They're embarrassed. The scientists have been embarrassed about this. They know that it's flawed.
In 1987, the CDC made two mind-boggling changes in the definition of AIDS, which are in effect today. You can be diagnosed with AIDS without ever having an HIV test.
In 1987, I had a lesion on my arm, and it was KS, Kaposi sarcoma.
The doctor diagnosed you with AIDS without an HIV test?
Yeah.
You can be diagnosed with AIDS if you've tested negative for HIV.
Alvin Friedman Keene found 16 patients with Kaposi sarcoma among gay men in New York City in the 80s. They did not have HIV infection. Yet they had AIDS by our definition, right?
In a World Health Organization publication, Dr. Chin writes, "It should be emphasized that the surveillance definitions for AIDS were not intended to be reliable indicators of HIV infection."
If you have thousands of documented cases of AIDS without HIV, how can HIV cause AIDS?
Why do you believe that HIV does cause AIDS?
Still got another half hour.
20 minutes, isn't it? What time is it? Oh, it's getting late, eh?
Yeah. No, there's still like a half hour. You want to pause it here and then we'll cap it off?
Sure, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, we'll wrap it up next week.
Yeah. Well,
it was an intensive run there.
Yeah, maybe we'll cap it off next week and we'll come back with some homework of seeing if we could find anything else on the AIDS virus.
Sure.
See if there's anything modern.
Yeah.
Like, what do they say today? Because this is from 1992. Okay, what happened since?
No, this is from 2009.
Oh, okay.
No,
well,
the other documentary that I was talking about was from like 92-ish.
Yeah, still, this is pretty old news.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see what's transpired in the past little bit.
Yeah, we could do that. And maybe if I can find it, we could watch the other documentary that's got just that one doctor that discovered this whole thing in the first place. He's the one that got this whole ball rolling because he was literally the #1 virologist in the world. And then when Robert Gallo was like, "Oh, we found this HIV causes AIDS," he was like, "Okay, well, I'm the #1 virologist in the world, and I've never ever heard of that." Because so HIV is something called a retrovirus.
Yeah.
I don't exactly remember how that's different than a regular virus, but he noted, he's like, okay, so I've been studying viruses my entire life. I'm the world fucking authority on it, and I've never once found or no one in history has ever once found any kind of a retrovirus that has been the reason for a disease. There's never been a retrovirus. It's basically like just something that's like a flu or something that you get, and it's got, it's a sickness, and then your body creates the antibody, and then you're not sick from it anymore, right?
Yeah.
But there's no connection to a retrovirus that creates, a disease. So he was like, this is weird that you would find that. And Robert Gallo, his specialty was retroviruses. He was a virologist too, I think, but his specialty is retroviruses. So he's like, oh, we've discovered this retrovirus is the cause for AIDS, right? And then he was like, well, there's never been that ever before. Why would that be now? And then he looks into it and he's like, I think it might be this poppers thing. And then he started talking to other scientists, getting interviewed, and then they built up like, I think like at the time I was watching that other documentary, which was like, 92-ish, they had a committee of 200 other scientists and doctors that were all backing Peter Duesberg, saying like, we've heard his argument and we've done our own research and we think he's correct. And so it was these 200 people, and like, 30 of them had PhDs, and they put forth a letter to the World Health Organization, and it was just ignored.
Phew.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyways, maybe we'll be able to check. I think that documentary is only like 45 minutes long. So if we add that to this, it would be like kind of roughly.
Yeah. Then we have our AIDS series.
Yeah. So yeah, we'll see what the update is. Cause I bet you if you look it up right now, like, AIDS breakthrough, they'll say like, oh, they've discovered something breakthrough and they should have a cure within 2 years.
Yeah.
I saw that article probably 6 months ago. That was like, 2 years away. And I laughed because I was like, literally, like you could see like these ones, like in that conference when Robert Gallo announces it, he's like, we believe that the woman that announced him, she comes on after, and she's like, we believe that a cure will be able to, come along within 2 years. And, that's how it always, every 2 years they get close. Oh, well, we've got a new breakthrough. We've discovered something new. We think we should be there in, maybe 2-3 years. But like 2 is that number, it just keeps everyone just kicking the can down the line.
Yep. Okay. Well, we will we'll close it off there. And by the time this is posted, we're into the future. So all the Blue Jays fans,
oh yeah,
how did we do?
Are they playing tonight?
Tomorrow night.
Oh, tomorrow night. Okay, I see.
Tomorrow night, it's a hell of a game.
I totally didn't even hear that they won. Like, I didn't know they won and got into the World Series there. And my wife was like, "How did you not hear that?"
So just to like cap this off, and maybe I can hype you up a bit for it. Vladimir Guerrero Jr.
Right.
That guy. His father is baseball dynasty.
Right.
Canadian baseball dynasty, right?
For sure. Yeah.
He's been signed on with the Blue Jays since 16 years old. This is his entire life, and he's been just like striving
to get here,
to get there. And like the news lady at the end of that game went up to him and went, Vladdy, guess what? You're going to the World Series. And he couldn't take it. He started weeping, and it was like, that's so fucking awesome, man. And they're up against a really tough team.
Pirates?
The LA Dodgers.
Oh, okay.
The LA Dodgers have a star Japanese player.
Oh, okay.
Ohtani. Yeah.
Ohtani, I think I've heard of him.
He's a dangerous player, and the rest of the team ain't too bad either. And so we'll see.
What is it that one player can do? Like, if you're not batting, okay, maybe you're good at hitting home runs, but then like what else are you good for? It's basically come down to the home runs. Like, you're able to hit the home runs.
There's that.
That's what our guys got right there. Junior.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm picking on
right?
Junior. It's a fantastic team all around.
Yeah.
But Junior himself, he's a first baseman as well.
Yeah.
So a lot of the hits like go like directly to him.
Okay.
So that's a heavy job.
And what about the other dude?
Ohtani, he's a pitcher.
Oh, okay. Interesting. And so he's a pitcher and a really good batter?
Mm-hmm.
Don't they normally not have the pitcher bat, or does the pitcher always bat?
Correct. They don't normally have the pitcher bat.
Yeah.
They want to save the arms.
Sure. Wow.
But when it comes to Canadian baseball, we get the rejects from Japan and South America.
What, like all their best players stay?
All stay in their countries.
Right. So you think there's better players than him in Japan?
Absolutely.
Wow.
Absolutely, there is.
And could they play? Could they beat regular?
Oh yeah, they're
NBA team or what do you call it? MBL teams?
It's
MLB.
not even like a lot of it is they can't cut it there, so they come here, and then
right. Oh, really? Hey.
Some of the other is like they go to their real job over there in the summer,
right,
or our winter, but like they do their season down there opposite ours.
So is there no like World Baseball League, kind of like how soccer does it? You know? No. Oh
No.
wow.
But South American baseball is really exciting baseball.
Yeah, I wonder who's the best baseball players in the world.
Oh, they play it up. They like bat flips after they hit the ball and flip the bat around. That's where they get real fancy with it.
Wow.
And like the huge gold necklaces.
Yeah. I can't believe they've never done that.
You're not like because it was developed in America. They have their old timey 1920s rules that they're adhering to. No bat flips, and it's serious and like this, and but yet in the background it's a horribly mob run, you know, and you could tell that there's dirty tricks that happen
in these foreign countries.
Oh no, here in ours.
Oh, really? It's mafia run, or
yeah,
really?
And in like in Japan, it's super serious,
right?
Like it is of great honor for a wife to like bring the dinner out to the baseball field because the husband just does it all day, all night, nothing else.
Wow.
Yeah, well, you know the way Japanese are.
Sure. They're just happy to be there, but
they're like you and me, only a little more.
Yeah.
You know, they do everything normal people do, just
a little bit more.
Yeah, just with that extra edge.
Yeah, that's kind of that Asian whole thing, right? All of them are like that.
Yeah,
doesn't matter where you go.
Japan treats baseball very seriously. They love it there.
It's interesting though. I'd really be interested to see like a World Cup of baseball. Who would win? Like what country would have the strongest baseball team? It'd be a wild series.
Yeah, between South America, because the same thing, like Japan treats it seriously, but in South America they don't have too much else. So getting like a bat and a ball is like, you know, and what else are you gonna do with your time? So that's like they're
so hugely paid in America, you know, like baseball people and whatever. I wonder if it's just like they basically just don't want to be embarrassed. You know what I mean? Like, so if they did a world baseball game and like they were the first ones out, you know, like the American team is the first to lose on the round robin against, you know, every other team in the world. Like, how would you explain that, right? When you're getting $100 million for your contracts and whatever, you know?
Yeah. Like when the Blue Jays beat out the Yankees and the Yankees couldn't continue. And they were laughing about it. Oh, the Yankees lose. I had that little bit of like, fucking yeah,
fucking Yankees.
Fuck you, Yankees. We beat you. You know, and that's not, you know, whatever. Yeah, I shouldn't be that bigoted. You know, fuck you, America. We got you, but it still felt good. Anyways,
yeah, we'll be here all night talking about baseball.
Yep. Good luck, Blue Jays. See you on the other side.
Catch you on the flip side.
On the Conspiracy Wars.